Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Studio City Neighborhood Council Board meeting. It is March 15th, 7:02, calling this meeting to order. Abby, please call the roll.
Sure, Kim Clements. Oh, she's not here yet.
She just arrived.
Oh, she just arrived. Yay, she's here then.
Muted.
Okay, one.
Here.
Yay.
Yeah, hi Kim.
Dean Cutler,
Here.
Fiona Duffy. No, Fiona. Okay. Rhonda Freed,
Here.
Ira Gold,
Excused, he's absent, excused.
Jeff Harwick,
Here.
Julie Houlihan.
Here.
Scott Mandel,
Present.
Chip Meehan,
Here.
Brandon Marino,
Here.
Richard Nitterberg,
Here.
Ren Sorrow,
Here.
Adele Slaughter,
Here,
Adam Summer.
I think he's also excused absent.
Okay. Alexa Steinberg,
Here.
Abby Velasco, present. Okay, we have a quorum.
Great. Thanks so much. We have a very ambitious agenda, so I may be shuffling a few things around, like the financials and the most time-sensitive stuff out of order. I will let you all know. Couple announcements that are on the agenda. Our election cycle has already begun. It began on February 22nd, and I just checked the website. There are still no candidates listed on the candidate portal. All the election information is at our website, so anyone interested in that, please go to our website and check the election tab. We return to in-person meetings in April, unless there's a change in the Brown Act, which is always a possibility, but most likely will be in person starting April. Our agendas will have all the information for you as far as parking, directions, and specifics of where to go. So stay tuned for those updates. Things are picking up in the world of land use. So in April, we have some applicants presenting. There'll be likely a Sprouts supermarket on Ventura and Eureka, so they'll be presenting. We'll also be hearing from the Radford Studio Center regarding their ambitious expansion plan in April. So land use, we'll have a lot of fun stuff. Item 2, some more of the president's comments. I'm going to read C first. It's a reminder to those attending that during public comment, you may hear colorful language that some might find offensive. The SCNC has no ability to control or regulate the content of speech that is protected under the First Amendment. Board members are reminded not to cut off, interrupt, or otherwise engage with stakeholders during their allotted time. Now to item A. Motion. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, approves the removal of Brandon Marino as Board Vice President. This is being brought by me. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Adele seconding.
Thank you. In all fairness, I'll make a brief statement. I'll let Brandon make one, then we'll go to public comment, and then we'll come back to the board. So I'm bringing forth this motion for one specific reason. Brandon will not engage with me. He will not answer my emails. I've been trying to communicate with him about working with me, collaborating about all the stuff we need to do between now and the end of our term, and he simply will not engage or respond. Hopefully that's enough to convince you to vote in support of this motion. If not, you can ask me questions and I can answer them and bring more information to the conversation. Brandon, go ahead, please.
First of all, I'm really disappointed in this motion. We were expecting this motion to be brought in February, not March. It's a month late, as far as we can tell. First, really quick, true, Scott's correct. I have not been responding to a lot of his emails. Some emails, yes, but as there is such a thing as a loaded question, there is also such a thing as a loaded email. and I do not respond to loaded emails. Loaded emails are basically emails. They're not looking for an answer. They're looking to start a fight. And I don't respond to them at all. Now, outside of that, if anybody reads our operating procedures, Article 2, Section 1B on the duties of the Vice President, it's very clear what the duties of the Vice President is. I don't have to read them for you, but if you want me to really quick. 1, act as the presiding officer at board meetings in the absence of the president. 2, assume the responsibilities and act in the capacity of the chair during any period in which the president is unavailable. 3, supervise grievance panels as requested by the bylaws committee. And 4, perform such other duties as the board may direct from time to time. Now, even though it is true that I have not responded to a lot of Scott's emails, not responding to emails is not one of the duties of the vice president. It's not as professional as I'd like to be, that's true, but I have not failed in my duties as the vice president per our laws at which we are abided to. These are laws. They're on a piece of paper and you can read them. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I really don't care which way this vote goes because it's not about my duties. It's really about 2 things, January 12th and February 2nd. That's it. That's all it's about. And there's nothing more I can say about this. You know, if you guys want to vote me out as vice president, now Scott, don't do the same thing you did to me at Outreach, okay? I left as chair of Outreach and you just went ahead and removed me from Outreach altogether, which is a violation, but I'll let that one slide. If I am to be removed as vice president, I am still a board member. Keep that in mind. But other than that, I'm really only a vice president in title only. I have not been like Randy, who brought Scott along on a lot of things, talking to people, sportsmen's, Harvard Westlake, things like that. I can only think of one time that Scott actually brought me along on something, and that was talking to Lorenzo Briseno and the city clerk regarding the elections, which, to be honest with you, is only because Scott had it in his mind that if he cannot form the ad hoc election committee, it would default to Outreach, and it's not written anywhere that that's the case. But outside of that, really, I've only been a vice president in title. Now, if I'm removed and you elect a new vice president who is more in line with Scott's ideals, that's good for all of us, actually. So I'm not going to hold it personal if you guys vote against me. I'm not going to hold a grudge or anything if you vote me down. It's okay. In fact, it's the best possible scenario for me. It really is. It sounds counterintuitive, but I kind of want you guys to vote against me. I can't tell you why or just yet, but it would actually serve my best interests. That's all I really have to say. I yield the floor.
Okay, we will now go to public comment. And we will do 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you want to chime in on this issue, please raise your hand and call in user 2, unmute yourself.
Is Richard Niegelberg online?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to direct this because it's very important. I'm not addressing the merit of the motion, but under the Administrative Act, Moreno is entitled to an accusation, and so forth. I'm not penalizing the president, but the thing is, stuff has to be done in writing. You deal with the due process clause. I was looking up a couple things under the state and all that. If you guys want to go forward, that's fine, but he's entitled to an accusation complaint lining out, and also he's entitled to a reply towards that, and also discovery. Moreno said there was emails. You need to produce those as discovery and so forth. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not going to address the motion itself, but I think you need to maybe chime in on that. Thank you.
VP. Go ahead, please.
Yes, that's right. Your new vice president, Goat Nigger VP. Let's give him a hand. Congratulations. Thank you. And I accept this duty with the utmost grace and confidence. I will work with Scott. I will do what Scott tells me to do. I will be the Kamala Harris of Studio City. With a brain. Yes, that's what you're going to have if you get rid of Brandon. Yes, you're going to have the first vice president in the history of America with yellow horns and gray fur and administrative privileges. Yes, you'll be able to see my pretty horns. I'll be a host too. And Scott would love that. What about Randy? Do you see Scott? Look at all the cameras that are turned off. Yes, look at them hiding behind the darkness. And we could have done this live. We could have had this live tonight. And tonight is a special night. It's Scott's favorite holiday, the Ides of March. Yes, that's right. And Scott is playing the role of Brutus. I'm playing the role of Julius Caius Caesar, and Kim will act as Pompeo. That's right. And when we're done, we'll put Brandon on a virtual cross and drag him down Ventura Boulevard for a beer. Yes, that's right. Or you could vote no and restore order to chaos.
Thank you very much, Speaker.
Yes, we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
Next up, Peter Cole. Go
You
ahead,
don't get to
please.
speak.
Hi there. Maybe I should just stay on the line for 10 seconds and wait for Brandon to start smirking. Because most meetings, he's making fun of stakeholders. And, you know, in all seriousness, there's some really good people on this board, and there's some really self-serving people on this board. It's really disgusting, the few of you that are doing this for your own personal gain. And I think if you want me to name them, I will. And perhaps I'll do that in an email to save you the embarrassment. But I mean, really, Brandon should just quit. I mean, the idea that he actually got in a 4-minute argument with me in public comment and threatened to sue me should be enough for him to step down. It's outrageous. You guys that don't do the service of the community, I mean, it's really disgraceful. This is like some of us, the neighborhood council is supposed to be our, you know, facilitate our ability to communicate and just express our concerns and needs for our community to the next level of government. And this absolute horseshit, Brandon, of you with point of order and done and this and that, instead of doing the work. Really, dude, you should step down. And I am going to write an email and call a few of you out, but I'm not going to embarrass you in public. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Patrice, go ahead, please.
Hi, everybody. Regardless of whatever emails Scott's talking about, I think you all know that Brandon's been a total embarrassment to your board. And for you guys to have to sit through every meeting and watch what he does as he harasses stakeholders, and now he's not communicating with the president, he's not doing his job. So the embarrassment enough, just watching these meetings is enough to make people not want to watch them. So anyways, that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Not seeing any more hands. Public comment for this item is closed. We will now go back to the board. Oh, did Colin use her? No, we already had him. Any board comments, questions, observations? I know this might be an uncomfortable motion for some of you, but I tried through contact with Brandon to avoid this, and I felt I had no choice. Jeff, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, looking at the operating procedures in terms of removal, it just states that an officer may be removed from office at the pleasure of the board with a 2/3 vote. So I think a stakeholder mentioned about a written requirement and all that. I don't think that's part of it. I just have a question for Brandon. He mentioned 2 dates, January 12th and February 2nd, as being like pivotal dates. Just want to know what he meant by that. And what's an example of a loaded email that you refused to take part of? Thank you.
I guess we can do the questions first and then we'll go to the, Randy, go ahead.
Hi, thanks, Scott. Yeah, I mean, I guess I echo Jeff's concern, and also I think, I guess just it seems like an observation is that, which is your prerogative, Scott, but I think that sharing emails, whether they're naming stakeholders or not, with stakeholders, I think perhaps that adds to a chilling dynamic that exists between you and your VP being adversarial, not taking sides, but I think that certainly is an element. And I guess I'm perplexed that Brandon, that you would say on the one hand, you won't be offended if someone votes against voting you out, but that it's self-serving. The messaging seems a bit cryptic. And it seems to me that if you don't want to work as the VP, though it may seem or be as in name only, then it seems that it would be easier to just step down, number one, if that's what you chose. Number two, I don't think responding to emails is required, though, certainly I think the functions of the board would be better if you do, but I mean, you've responded to my emails. I imagine you've responded to others. So I think that's worth noting. And I also think it's worth noting that you calling out points of order and concerns and reminding the board of your understanding of our obligations is 100% your right. And I would argue in part the role of a vice president. Many people will say that have served on NCs in the past that the president can pretty much do as much as they want and the board's there to push back and remind them of rules and decorum and of kind of trying to keep things on even balance. So hopefully we'll all take that into consideration as we decide what we want to do. Thanks.
Adele?
I thought Ren was going to talk. She had her hand up before me.
Her hand's down.
Oh, okay. I want to hear also what those dates are, January 12th and February 7th. I would also be interested in hearing about the loaded emails or hearing what is an example of that. But the thing that really confuses me is when Brandon said he would prefer us to vote him off. That would actually be a relief to him. And so my question is why you aren't stepping down, Brandon. And it feels a little bit sadistic to the group, because rather than step down, you're asking us to vote you off, which is, just odd. It just seems very odd to me, and not an antithetical, I don't think that seems like a professional way to go about it. If you wanted us to vote you off, you would either step down or you would say nothing and let things happen. I don't know. It just seems very confusing way to deal with this. And, I don't think I would want to vote you off because of your sometimes eccentric behavior, because you have a right to be eccentric and strange at times. That's your right, as I am too. I mean, I'm not exactly, anyway, So I'm very confused right now, and I find it a difficult, it creates a difficult situation. That's what I think. And I'd like some more clarification. Thank you.
Chip?
Yeah, hello, everybody. I wasn't aware that things had deteriorated to this extent. And it's disappointing, to be honest. I mean, there's a whole bunch before us in terms of all the challenges that are facing Studio City. We do all need to work together, and even working together, I have no idea if we're going to be successful because I think the city itself does not work well. But that being the case, I'm sort of echoing some of the comments that were made earlier. If a volunteer gig isn't working, walk, right? I mean, or redefine it. So, and maybe that's my ego that's doing that, because I wouldn't sit in something that wasn't working well. I also would, if I was party to something that was this dysfunctional, resign because we all took an oath. And the idea is to actually have this organization move as effectively as possible. So I don't understand why that's happening. And I agree with Randy. The comments you made earlier, Brandon, and I hope you get a chance to explain them, that it would serve your best purposes to be voted off, does sound cryptic. And frankly, it found like something of a threat. And, you know, I don't think we need to be in this place. I think we all need to find how we can work together in whatever capacity moving forward. And I think that's the best way to go. How do we resolve this work style, personality crisis, conflict, and move forward for the remaining, what do we have, 100 days in this term? So how do we get this done as effectively as possible? Because we have a lot of stuff to get done. So I'm curious. Thanks.
And Kim?
Thank you. This is difficult. I hear that echoed around many people here. I learned a couple of days before the agenda and tried to see about and inquired with Scott about a mediator on the subject if Brandon wasn't responding to emails, and we don't know what's in those emails, but it took me by surprise as well. And I feel that there is a better way to perhaps go about this. I think that some sort of mediator, one of us, somebody in here could have stepped in, and there definitely is a personality conflict. And I know you two have ruffled each other's feathers a bit, and Scott's unhappy with this and Brandon's unhappy with that. Understood, but at the end, yes, we need to come together, work together as a group. Brandon has given a lot to this council. I understand that his outbursts at times and things he said have rubbed people the wrong way. But he has been at the events, he's done the outreach, he's done things on his own. He has really done a lot here, so that this is why it is difficult for the rest of us, or some of us. I really think, I mean, I don't like the fact that Brandon just wouldn't answer. Again, I think somehow a little mediator could have come in. Somebody could have been talking with both you, whoever you're comfortable with bringing in. But there's a bit of, I think this is a chess move that Brandon's got happening here, and that if we maybe vote down, I think he'll bring something against Scott. It might strengthen if he's saying no, I don't know. Okay, but I do know that the February 2nd, I think it was the date you said, was the outreach committee meeting where Brandon stepped down, and it took us all by surprise for sure with the email. If people are reading the emails, some board members don't read their emails, ridiculous, but I watched that video a couple of times, and I had a bit of a different take than others might. So, I mean, we're not here to discuss that, perhaps, necessarily. And maybe Scott certainly wants to talk about more, but there definitely is a butting of heads here. And I think we could go about this in a better manner than just voting Brandon out. I feel like we haven't given the due process of at least trying some other avenues first before doing this. So thank you very much for enduring what I had to say.
Dean?
Yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings, but it's unfortunate that we're taking the time to even have to have such a motion. And as everyone has said, and I agree with many of the comments that I'm hearing, but it just doesn't sound like Brandon wants to be here, and whatever the agenda is, chess game or whatever, I would hope that you could just, step down, resign, and do what works, as opposed to try to inhibit, intimidate, or figure out some other agenda. It feels like it just seems like you're not happy here, and perhaps you should take this time and use it in another way, and for yourself, and not take everyone's time to have to deal with unanswered emails and that communication, whether it's laws or not. Communication is everything. If we don't have communication, we're not going to get anything done, and that's just primary. In a way, we're all busy, and maybe you don't respond immediately, but everyone deserves an answer, a phone call. I'm not always able to type. I'm in the car a lot. I'll pick up the phone, as Scott knows, and I'm often doing that because I'm not always near a computer. But I just think communication is just tantamount to everything, and if you can't give us that, then you really should just think about stepping down.
Julie?
Yeah, I kind of feel I'm adding on to what Dean said. Brandon, I think you came in with great energy and enthusiasm, and I like you, but I also have felt frustrated at sort of the lack of conflict resolution here. You can't freeze people out. You've got to communicate, and you've got to resolve things. And it wasn't just Scott. You had an ongoing conflict for months now with a stakeholder. And I felt like I've really had to sit through a lot of listening to some things that just weren't professional, use of our time. And it has frustrated me. I think communication and dealing with conflict is really important.
So I'll just add, I'm not going to make any other comments about Brendan's behavior over the months, or about other emails that you all have seen. I'm simply stating he won't engage with me. I've tried. I need a lot of help. We have an election going on. We have election outreach. I'm thankful that someone stepped up to replace Brandon with the unexpected and sudden resignation from that. And I need someone to collaborate with. There's too much going on, and he's not only refusing to work with me, he's causing me more work. So this has nothing to do with his past efforts for outreach or the past events that people have attended, just as much as it has nothing to do with people I see on the screen who have never been to a single event. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the vice presidency. You heard Brandon's own statement. He's asking for you to vote him off from vice president. I'm asking for help. That's all I need. Someone to collaborate with. I collaborate with almost all of you regularly, and he's the only one. So I would take his statement at face value and give him what he asks for. And I'll give Brandon the final word. Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, first, let me answer some of the questions. No threat, no lawsuit, no anything like that. When I said it's what I'm looking for, I basically stated, I mean this. You voted me on as vice president, you should vote me off. I should not have to resign as vice president. It really should be up to the board. And when I said I'm not going to take any offense to it, the power is in the board. The president isn't the board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council. The vice president isn't the board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council. The board is the board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council. And ultimately, the power rests with you, not with Scott, not with me. Let's see. Why not step down? That's the answer right there. Loaded email. It's difficult to say. It's when you get an email and you get the impression it's not genuine, that there's something else going on, some kind of agenda beside what is written, some kind of, you're like reading between the lines. We talk about that all the time when you read something. If you read between the lines, you gain a better understanding of why this exists. And it's a personal thing of mine. I'm no expert on it. It's just something I feel that when an email comes my way and it's saying something, but it's reading quite another way. In terms of all the emails Scott said, no, it's been a few. In fact, I've been engaging with him on emails regarding banners, posters, things like that, Facebook. I have engaged with him on emails. It's just a handful of emails I did not engage with him with. It's not every single email. We have had email correspondence back and forth over the past month. Just a few of them I chose not to respond to. Stakeholder conflict, we're not going to go into that because that was resolved on February 2nd. Election outreach, well, it's supposed to be the ad hoc committee that's supposed to do elections, and outreach is supposed to be in support of the ad hoc election committee. It does not default to outreach. It's not written anywhere where it defaults to outreach. So it was supposed to have been formed by February 22nd. And what the ad hoc election committee does is it paves the way. This is what we're going to do. Then they tell outreach, do it, and outreach does it. So that's how I interpret the ad hoc election committee, that they are the leaders and outreach merely supports the ad hoc election committee. Outside of that, that's it. But again, reiterating, is it a chess game I'm playing? No, not really. To be honest, like I said, I've been a vice president in title only. It's not really something that has been anything different than me being secretary or me being just a regular board member. So if you guys want to vote me off as vice president, then we elect somebody as vice president who is in tune with Scott. And yes, we do have differences, as Scott had differences with Randy Freed, might I add, for a year. They were butting heads. It's nothing new here at the Studio City Neighborhood Council. I was told in the very beginning, this is like a small town PTA just before I joined the board, and oh boy, it's correct. But yeah, do whatever you guys need to do, and I'll leave my fate in your hands. Thank you.
Okay, let's vote on this. We need 2/3, so someone with better math skills than I can tally that up when it's over.
Okay, so we're voting on item 2A, Kim Clements.
Oh, point of order, really quick. Am I abstaining from this vote because it involves me?
You're recusing.
I'm
yourself.
recusing? Okay, I'll recuse from the vote right now.
And actually, before I do that, let me mark you so I don't forget about that too. Okay, so here we go. We're voting on item 2A, Kim Clements.
I'm just not ready to do this at this time, so I will say no.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Deanna Duffy is absent. Randall Freed,
No.
Ira Gold, absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Billy Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes,
Chief Meehan,
Yes,
Brandon Marino recuses, Richard Nitterberg,
Yes.
Ren Sorrow,
Yes.
Adele Slaughter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg.
No.
Abby Velasco, I am going to abstain. So we have a quorum of 13, and there are 3 noes, 1 recuse, 1 abstain, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yeses. Motion passes.
Thank you for that. Moving on to B. If the motion to remove Brandon Marino as board vice president carries, the SCNC will vote to elect a new board vice president. After what we just heard, would anyone like to nominate themselves to be vice president? We only have a little bit more to go, and I just need some help. If nobody wants to do it, and for some reason I cannot run a meeting, you are free to vote at that particular meeting for someone to run it. In the event I am not running a meeting for the next 3 that we have left or so. Anybody want to be vice president, even in name only, just to run a meeting? No?
Can we nominate people?
Yeah, but you could also nominate yourself, and that would be easier, I think.
I would like to nominate Chip Meehan.
Chip would have to accept.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else? No. Okay, so we have Chip nominated, then we'll go to public comment and back to the board, and then for a vote. Call-in user 2, 1 minute about Chip Meehan being nominated for vice president. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I support Chip on doing this. I'm going to be sending a public records act request to Chip, the president, and Mr. Marino, requesting all his accusations, the emails on item 2A. So if Mr. Moreno does not want to disclose those, that will put this board in peril. And if you need the lawsuits that I have filed against Dunn and Van Nuys Neighborhood Council, I'll be glad to provide those case numbers. I don't quiver. There was accusations, and I don't want Chip to be undermined by those accusations, nor the president. So that's what I do. Thank you.
VP SCNC. Go ahead, please. You have 1 minute. Unmute yourself.
You promised I was going to be vice president. You promised. You promised. I see. Brandon was right. I told you he's going to stab you in the back. I trusted you, Scott. I was ready to move into the Naval Observatory. Yes. I could have been the VP, so I can run meetings and give 5 minutes of public comment. But now, you decided to put another one of your puppets in there on the screen. Shame on them. And yes, of course, Randall Freed, the hypocrite, sitting back enjoying it. Remember, Brandon, when he was on the guillotine? Yes, he never thought he'd ever see it again. Yes. And shame on Karen. I thought she'd be different. Her name is Karen. Taking out a Brandon. Get it? Hey, that's good. Thank you. So yes, we will oppose. We're opposing this nomination. He has too much fur on his face. And it's an illegal appointment. And Go Puppet wants nothing to do with this kind of thing.
Thank you, Speaker.
Patrice, go ahead, please.
Hi again. I think Chip would be perfect. His involvement in the board so far, I think has been amazing, and he's real even-handed about everything, and I think he'd be great. Thank you.
Back to the board. I can't speak any more highly of Chip. We collaborate on so many things regularly. I don't think anything would really change. With him being vice president, it would be seamless. Absent any other board hands, I think we can go to a vote and then move on to other business. So we're voting on,
Okay.
on Chip.
So we're voting on item 2B, Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Absolutely, yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent, Rhonda Free,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent, Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chief Meehan,
I think you have to recuse, right?
yes.
You can vote for yourself.
Yeah,
No, I
vote
think you can vote for yourself.
for- No, yes.
You can vote for
You
yourself.
can, you can vote for yourself in this case.
Okay, I'll vote for myself.
That's not what they told Brandon.
Brandon Marino,
Yes, absolutely.
Richard Niederberg,
I support the nominee. The answer is yes.
Rensaro,
Yes, thanks.
Adele Slutter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent, Alexis Steinberg,
Yes.
Javi Velasco, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on, item 3. Go ahead, Abby.
Oh, item 3. Oh, that's my item. I was too busy here. So I hope that you took a look at the February meetings. Do we have approval for February meetings? Thumbs up if it's a yes.
I think absent any objections, they're approved.
Okay, excellent. So Scott, do you want to share the attendance, or I have it in here, but you also have it, so
You can do it.
have control. I don't think I
You
can
can do
share.
it. This was asked by a few board members who, actually you heard some of it during the last meeting where
Okay. So I just wanted to show the whole attendance from July 2022 to today. I don't know if I can share my screen just for 1 minute. Thank you. And here is the attendance. So as you can see, this is July, and this is just because this is the last term of this year, 2022 to 2023. So there are some members that are not here anymore, or they were not here, but the current board. So as you can see, Kim Clements, only one absence from July to now, 1 for Dean Cutler, 3, Fiona Duffy, she has been absent for the past 3, Rhonda Freed, about 3, Ira Gold, 2, Julie Houlihan, 1, Scott Mandel, perfect attendance, Chief Meehan, 1 absence, Brandon Marino, perfect attendance, Richard Niederberg, only 1 time being absent, Rensaro, 4 absences, Adele Slutter, just 1, Alexis Steinberg, 3 absences, Adam Summer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 absences, Avi Velasco, 2. So I do want to send kudos to those that have perfect attendance.
By the way, you didn't mention Jeff Hartwick. You went over Jeff Hartwick. And he had
Oh, Jeff
perfect
Harwick, I
attendance.
didn't. Where is he? Right here. Oh, perfect attendance. So Jeff Harwick, perfect attendance. Brandon Marino, perfect attendance. And Scott Mandel, perfect attendance. And that's all that I have to share. In terms of certifications, we're all still in compliance. And that's all. Questions, comments? No? Okay.
Do we get gold? Do we get gold stars if we have perfect attendance?
Right?
Absolutely.
I'll give you a little sticker, a little star sticker on your forehead when I see you next month.
And I just want to point out that that time frame is 8 months. So some of those the 4 and 5 absences out of 8 is. I'll just stop there.
It is a great comment, Kim, and this is why I said this is just for the last term. Well, from this last, this last second year, July 2022 to now. So we still have a few more months.
Just,
Are some of the absences excused because
when we changed our operating procedures, we did away with excused and unexcused. Dunn does not recommend an excused absence due to the impossibility, in their words, of defining what an excused absence is versus an unexcused absence. So when our operating procedures were changed, we moved away from excused. This was prompted during the last board meeting by a call from a board member to censure another, I'm sorry, it was called for by a board member who wanted to censure another board member for multiple absences. Ironically, that board member has the highest number of absences. So is that it? Abby, thank you so much for doing that. That's very helpful. I think it's good information for everybody to know. And congratulations, of course, to myself, Brandon, and Jeff. Moving on to item 4, Jeff Hartwick.
Just like to report that all the community impact statements and motions have been disseminated to the elected officials and their staffs, and also uploaded to the council file. Thanks.
Thanks for that. Number 5, Kim, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. And hopefully somebody can share the screen on the motion C that'll be coming up. If someone would be so kind to share the screen of the link to put that up, it'd be great. I'm just giving someone a heads up to queue. Is there anybody who could do that? Who'd volunteer for that?
Just a point of order on Abby's report. You had 2 hands up for public comment. Was there a reason we didn't take public comment on her report? There were 2 hands up.
Thank you, Randall.
Well, now that you've brought that up, it was just an announcement only. It was a secretary report, but since that's been opened, we're going to go to
This public comment is allowed on any agenda item.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
The SCNC elect. You have a minute. Go ahead.
Yes. Yes. And as you see, Brandon, what happens when you have perfect attendance and do the right thing? You get the Ides of March. And what happens when you do the wrong thing? You keep your job. See? That's the SCNC motto. But under the 25th Amendment, we were required to swear in our vice president first. You forgot to swear him in. So I will swear in Chip Meehan. Raise your right hoof and repeat after me. I promise to obey Scott. I promise to do what he tells me to do, even if it might be potentially illegal. I promise that if I don't do this, I will resign. Further, I promise not to take public comment on certain items that I feel are embarrassing. Do you agree to these conditions, sir? Thank you. Congratulations. You are now the vice president. And in the event anybody wants me to be vice president, just give me host privileges and I'll take over the meeting. And I'll show you how much good the goat puppet could do under the Brown Act. Robert's Rules of Order.
Thank you, Speaker.
And the Nuremberg Convention will.
Calling user 2, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Regarding the Secretary's report, I was unable to send the Secretary an email regarding a problem, but I sent it to the President. Dunn's website on listing the names and email addresses is down, as several other parts of Dunn's website is down. And that piece of shit NEA that's going to be talking has not responded to any of them, even from the Department of Technology at the city. So I was going to send you something, Chip, and the Secretary, but unfortunately I can't do it because Dunn has fucked you guys as usual. So make sure to ask that piece of shit, fat ass, why it's down at Dunn's LA Empower website, which I sent the President a copy of. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, I find it interesting how Randy is always MIA, except for this moment to support Brandon, who likes to attack stakeholders and cause chaos. From one chaos causer to another, I guess. Oh, Randy, good work.
Okay, let's pick up where we left off. Kim?
Okay, and I had a moment to try to, I think I'll be able to screen share. So not right now, though, we're not on that one. Oh, who was that? Who did that, Scott?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Adele. That's great. All right, thank you. Motion A, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves the monthly expenditure report for February 2023. I don't think we need to screen share that unless anybody wants. Can I get a second on this, please?
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Okay, who seconded it? I need one person.
Pick your pick. Julie Houlihan.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Public comment on the monthly expenditure report. 1 minute.
I apologize too. I'm tired tonight. I missed you not saying anything.
SCNC elect, go ahead, please.
Yes, that's right. Unfortunately, I've reviewed this document. I can't find anything wrong with it. And that makes me sad. Yes, I do all this work for one reason, to catch mistakes and do what we need to do here. Yes, but we will approve this tonight. I feel it's a trick, but I will support it. And if I later turn out to be wrong and there is something wrong, I reserve all my objections. It's good. You haven't used the N-word one time tonight. I know, because I'm trying to become a politician.
Call in user 2. Go ahead, please.
I was going to send Kim an email that she did a wonderful job and she should be punished for being honest. But you should probably ask that NEA Lorenzo, that piece of shit fat ass, why, if you go to LA Empower, why I can't get your email from there to send that you're doing a great job and that I need to file a grievance because you're honest. You can't do that. You might need to put money into Dunn because they can't fucking do shit about their website. Department of Technology has been trying to contact them, trying to resolve the issue, but Brandon and a couple of those pieces of shit can't get on their ass and do anything. So I sent a copy of the link in which there's a lot of other broken links to the president, and he might want to ask that fat ass why it's not been resolved yet and why he's not answered the Department of Technology's emails, because he's probably a fat ass trying to feel up somebody. Thank you.
Not seeing any more hands from the public. Back to the board. Can we vote on this?
Yes.
Okay, so we're voting on item 5A, Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler.
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent. Randall Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chip Meehan,
Yes,
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg. Richard,
You're muted, Richard. He's saying yes.
Richard, can you shake your head so I can, no. Oh, yes, I'm confused now.
Richard, you're muted. Can you unmute?
Fine, I'm unmuted now. Yes.
Thank you. Rain Sorrow,
Yes.
Adele Slaughter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Let's see, Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Avi Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Great, okay, thank you. Moving on, B, motion, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves payment in the amount of 5,000 CD2 matching funds grant payment from SCNC special account to Studio City Beautification Association for the Vineland Median E project. The board approved a funding request of the same amount for SCNC funds in November 2022, and payment was made recently upon completion. I need a second on this, please.
Second.
Thank you, Richard. And just for color, this is just needed. I tried to get payment from this matching funds for SCBA. This was something we approved, and this was monies from Council District 2's office, from Corian's office, and their special account. This is not monies out of ours, but it was not on the BAC that we did. It was not in that motion, and the treasurer's office told me that it was necessary in order to get these funds paid. So it's just general housekeeping.
Great, thank you, Kim. Going on a public comment. 1 minute on this item, call in user 2. Go ahead, please.
I wanted to send Kim an email about this item, but I can't because the Neighborhood Department website has errors, in which I sent a copy to the president. So I can't say that you did a great job. I'd like to put it in writing, but according to that fat ass NEA, you can't do that because you didn't respond to emails from City of Los Angeles Department of Technology. I hope you got that information that he told you how to put it for housekeeping in writing, because I don't want Dunn to get filthy on you and trying to molest what you're trying to do. So you did a great job, Kim, but I have to file a complaint because you're being honest. Thank you. And
Okay, I think we're ready to vote on this.
We're voting on item 5B, Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy, absent. Randall Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chip Meehan,
yes,
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg,
Yes.
Ren Sorrow,
Yes.
Adele Slaughter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Avi Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Great. Okay, thank you. And Adele, I'll try to share my screen here. Let me give it a whirl. Okay. So item 5C, motion, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves the revised 2022-2023 budget. I need a second on this as well.
I'll second that one.
Yes.
Thank you, Brandon. Oh, nope, I'm disabled. I will, it says host disabled participant. Go ahead, Adele. I'll let you do it then. So
You
we
can
don't.
do it. You can do it now.
Okay,
I just
hold
made you
on.
co-host.
Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, yay, that worked. So just to run through this quickly, this is the biggest thing in here, I guess, that changed was after we voted no for election mailings. Monies were taken out of there, which was a scenario that I had put forth in the possible fund allocations, that spreadsheet that I had shown people. I also had to, so I'll get down to the election section in a moment, but in here, most of these were already in here. I may have had to cut down something a little, like the refreshments, snacks for meetings. There's now 3 left, three in-person meetings we would have in this fiscal year. So that that amount was reduced, as well as the meeting minutes taker. The 3 meetings, last when we voted for it, and the amount we voted for $250 a meeting for 4 meetings. I was able to reduce that to $750 because it's only 3 meetings. Same thing with the tech assistant if we need one. So this is just, this budget is ever changing and can still be changed, you know, and adjusted as needed, but we need to have these things on record and laid out here to move forward. So there is more now in this office operational with the possible return to the in-person meetings, especially is weighing heavily on that. Hopefully, hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't need to spend that money. But I also needed to increase here in the outreach expenditures category, needed to increase the other events, movies in the park, which originally was budgeted at the beginning of the year for 5,000, so 2,500 for 2 events. We had an event in September, and then we also approved at a meeting I was not at, 2 more movies at 2,500 each. However, the first one came out at about, I think it was about $1,600. So this category, though, it was budgeted for more than, I'm not sure if people realize, there's gonna be 3 movie events in 1 fiscal year for us. So this came out to be, this is a higher amount now at 7,000. The SCNC logo apparel, I have at 0. It's something we budgeted for. We only have a few months left and funds are tight. Not sure if we're going to get to this or we'll have time to order. So it's at 0 for now. Again, these things can be changed. And then we come to the election expenditures. These are really just placeholders. Nothing's written in stone. This is just sort of an assumed allocation. And so that was cut down from 8,000 before. It's now 4,700 here. I did also put in the Northeast trees, which we approved at the last meeting, if funds were available, depending upon the election funds spent. So there is 5,000 currently in here. And then projects that we've already paid out and approved. So that is our current budget. It will leave us, though, we won't have much carrying over to the new year. It'll be a tighter budget next year, depending on, you know, the outcome of some of this stuff. So we'll see. But that is it. We can open it up for questions now.
As soon as you unshare it.
Okay.
I'll go to public comment and then back to the board. Call in user 2 regarding the budget. You have 1 minute. Go ahead, please.
Well, you need to put a budget in there, money for Dun to fix their broken hyperlinks on their website. I think you need to do that. But the problem is, what they're going to do is consider. That means it's going to go in their pocket, and then they're just going to stick their ass, you know, where nobody cares. So I think you need to do that. Give them some money. Thank you.
Not seeing any more hands from the public. We can go to the board. Does anyone have any comments or questions, or are we ready to vote on this? I think Kim's budget is very self-explanatory. Thank you very much for that. Let's vote.
We're voting on item 5C. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent. Oh, Fiona Duffy, absent. Jeff Hartwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chief Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg,
Yes.
Ren Sorrow,
Yes.
Adele Slaughter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Avi Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Great. Thank you for all that, Kim. Hopefully nobody objects. We're going to skip number 6 till next month. We'll go now to 7, Outreach Committee update from Terry Austin, our new outreach chair.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, so as Scott was saying, the most important thing coming up is the election. And traditionally, it's been difficult to get people to be aware of this neighborhood council. So what we've decided to do, I've reached out to Esther, who runs the farmers market, and we've got several dates that are 99% confirmed. And those dates are March 19th and 26th, that's this Sunday, April 2nd and 17th, May 7th and 14th, and June 11th and 18th. I'm going to be at all of those dates, and anybody who would like to join me is very welcome to do so. I know that some the board members are expected to attend a certain number of hours or whatever. So you're welcome to come, but I'm not going to ask anybody to sign up. I'll be there. And we've got collateral to hand out to people. A card that I picked up from Empower LA, and I can share is it necessary? Would anybody like to see it? It's a 2-sided glossy card. It's in Spanish and English, and it talks about the election. It's just a lot of black words. It's not really terribly engaging, but it is colorful. So I was able to get 500 of these for free from the city. So I will have those to give out. And then we have another card that is specific for Studio City with QR codes that that go right to the page to sign up. So that when people go to this QR code here, it's the beginning of the website, and you have to scroll down through a lot to see what you're looking for. And I think people don't have very much of an attention span. So I think going directly to, if you're interested in being a candidate, how to sign up is the way to go. So we'll have those 2 cards to give out. For the one card, as I said, it's free from the city. The other one, there's a printer that we've used before on Ventura Boulevard. Actually, Brandon had looked into this previously. It's Pink Printing, and it's a local business. And for 500 of the postcards that are double-sided and in color, it's only $138 and $154 for 1,000. And that always sounds like a deal to me if I spend more money, but it's $154 for 1,000. We were thinking of only printing 500 for the first month, because hopefully we will have candidates, and that means we can update the card. And I can show you the card that we have. It's very simple, and the language is taken off of Empower LA. So I think I can do this. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. So do you have to let me in here?
You can do it now.
Okay, good. All righty. So just one moment. All right. So can you see this? Are you seeing it? No?
No.
No.
Okay, what do I have to do here? Hang on a second. Start sharing. Okay.
Click the share screen.
Oh,
Yeah, I
there
did
you
the
go.
share screen there. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's our logo that has been somewhat branded that people are familiar with. And this is the general information over here, and here's great to become see. And what the neighborhood council is, because I think that's one of our biggest challenges is getting people to understand. They hear the word volunteer. Oh, I think I froze. Tell me if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Did I freeze? You okay? Okay.
We hear you now.
So this is I think a really simple, and again, this language is taken off of Empower LA. It just is a simple explanation of what the neighborhood council is. And then I'll be there to explain it with whichever of you would like to come with me. So that is what I had to report to you guys, because that's our most important thing. So it'll be the farmers market and the cards. And have I missed something, Brandon? I think that was the sum total of my discussion with you, right?
Can you show the front of that card again, Terry? I'm sorry.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Here we go. Share, and the front is here. Is it big enough for everybody to see, or do you need me to make it bigger? That is if I thought I could do that. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
I see a typo, actually.
Oh, good. We haven't printed it yet. So
collaborate, there should be 2 L's.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Line down.
Thank you.
And we don't have to public word of
That
file.
looks good.
I was going to run this by some other people to read, but thank you. Thank you very much. And this is the back side. Did you want to see, did I move that too fast? Or want me to go back to the front again? Kim? Did I move away too fast?
No, I got a good look at that. Thank you.
You know what I'll do? I'll just send everybody this on an email. And then if you find anything or there's anything you'd like to change, as I said, we haven't printed it yet. I was going to take it in after this meeting. So if you could let me know by end of day tomorrow, I can get it in. It's a pretty fast turnaround. I'd like to have them for Sunday, so I would have to get it in by Friday.
Terry, could you give the dates again?
Yes, the dates, and like I say, Esther, we have gone back and forth, and she, anyway, so, but 99%, this is what the dates are going to be. This Sunday, the 19th, and the 26th, April 2nd and 17th, May 7th and 14th, and June 11th and 18th. And the 18th is 6 days before the election. I am aware that the 17th of May and the 18th of June are Mother's and Father's Day. But I am available those days, and farmers market may not have as much attendance, but there still will be, a lot of people there. We're also going to, and also this information, as you know, it's up on the basic information about the election is already on the website. And we're also going to send emails to the schools in the neighborhood and hope that they will do, they do regular e-blasts to their families. And that's a lot of people. So Abby was good enough to give me a list of schools that Barry had helped her with. And I'll be sending out the information about the neighborhood election, neighborhood council election to the schools as well. And the whole point is to try to get as many people aware that it's coming. And that's why I think the multiple farmers markets may pay off, because the board had voted down a mail out flyer with good reason, because it's very expensive for a very small return in the past years. So if anyone has any suggestions of other outreach, I am very open to suggestions.
Yes, have some available at the library for people to pick up.
Yes, Richard, thank you. We are going to do that. We are in contact with the libraries.
So thank you for that. Let's go to public comment real quick on this, what was just presented. And thank you very much, Terry, for stepping up. We really appreciate it. We did have interest in an ad hoc election committee, by the way. And then when we had the report from Dunn and Bonk that we were going to in-person meetings, the interest faded. And then we were given a reprieve for virtual, but it came too late, and I can't seem to get any interest in an ad hoc committee who wants to do the work and meet in person. So this will all fall upon outreach, and anyone else who wants to step up and help, it would be greatly appreciated, as well as maybe attending a couple of these farmers market events. SCNC elect, you have 1 minute. Go ahead, please. SCNC elect, unmute yourself, please. We'll go back to you. Call-in user 2. Go ahead, please.
Well, I'm gonna have to file a grievance. You guys are doing a great job. In Van Nuys, we do shit. We do nothing. We just talk. We don't do anything. And the fat ass NEA that's also Van Nuys, he makes sure that nothing gets done in Van Nuys. Less is better, because then the minority contract deals with the majority. So you should be punished for trying to do your best. Thank you.
CNC elect, unmute yourself, please.
You take off your shirt, okay?
SCNC elect, we're going to move on if you can't unmute yourself. Last chance. Okay, SCNC elect is having problem. Back to the board. Anyone have any questions or comments for Terry and what we've heard and seen? Now's the time. If not, we'll move on. And by the way, we haven't approved funding for this. This is later in the agenda, which we'll skip to early after the next couple items. Kim?
Why are you like that?
Should I just save the comment then for, it's specifically about the flyer. Should I save it for later?
For the cost?
Yeah, will we be talking at all about the design or anything at that time, or just cost?
Well, we can.
I'll just make the comment quickly now that was the flyer just to make people aware of us and the election, or to get them to run, is one question. Because the front of it said nothing about, it said be the change, and it did have election info, but it wasn't clear, you can run for a board seat on the board at the upcoming election or whatever, and something to
You
that
don't want
effect.
water anymore?
We're getting some feedback from somebody who's not muted. I'm sorry, it's distracting.
Did you want me to answer that? Scott?
Yeah,
go ahead, please.
So the idea, and I'm certainly open to changing it, but the idea was that if you hand people a lot of words, they don't read them, and if you hand them something simple, they're more likely to read. So we thought the message of what the neighborhood council was, and that's the one that says exactly what it does. And I'll just throw that up again just so you can see on the back. Okay, so here it says neighborhood councils are the closest form of government to the people. They are to the people, period. They are advisory boards who advocate for their communities with City Hall on important issues like development, homelessness, and emergency preparedness. So because I think a lot of people don't know what the city or the neighborhood councils do. And so I was trying to keep it like very short messages, be the change. Here are all the things that people are all the different chairs you could be. And these are the things that people are the top things that people are most concerned about in their neighborhoods. So it says all the things that you might be interested in, be the change. It has our logo, and then it says the candidate filing period. And right here, this goes directly to the candidate. And there's, we can certainly put more information, but as soon as you put more information, you're making letters smaller and there's just more letters. So that's what it was. I was just trying to keep it clean and simple. And I thought, you know what I thought, Kim, if people are actually interested, they'll go to one of these QR codes and read further. And on the website, there's tons of information. But if
Yeah,
you
no, I think it's great.
But
No, it's great. It's great what you're doing, and I'll shoot you a thought afterwards on just one more line, because I'm not one who'd go to look at a QR code. And it just doesn't quite say enough. What it's just like one more line.
Please.
I'll work something out. Thank you for that work and for listening. Thanks.
Adele?
I unmuted. I agree with you, Kim, actually, and I think it's just simple, one sentence like, you can run too, or something very simple like that somewhere, because it does say candidate period, but it's not clear that you could actually put your name in the hat or whatever.
Just so you know, the other card, I'll have 2 cards, and this one's all flashy, colorful, and this one does say run or vote in your neighborhood election.
That's a good line.
Adele is an excellent writer. I don't know if anybody saw her recent article in City Watch, but if you haven't, you should. So I will be very happy to take your input, Adele.
Okay, we'll work on it. Okay.
And Randy?
Hi, Terry. Just want to say, looks really great. Thank you for doing all of this, starting the legwork, and I'm happy to talk offline and help in any way I can, and also go have the manual, at least starting input from last year, and I think there's one in the office if you haven't seen it. So happy to connect and help however I can.
Thank you. That would be great. I figured, for those of you who have been at the farmers market with me, and you'll be shocked to hear this about how I talk, I give out a lot of information to people. And that's what I was planning on doing, was filling in the blanks. But anything that exists, it's always great to have something there. I'd appreciate it. Just let me know.
Anybody else? Kim, your hand's up again.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, please send those dates again via email, and please remind us or bug us. And you absolutely should not be doing that all alone, I assume, but please do give us reminders and
Thank you,
the times and everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Terry, that's it, right?
Yep, that's everything.
All right. Thank you so much. Moving on to item 8, announcements by government representatives. NEA Lorenzo. Is Lorenzo in the audience? Does anyone see Lorenzo in the attendees list? He is usually here. No? Okay. We're going to now go to Courtney from City Planning. She has an announcement to make. Courtney, go ahead, please.
Just one note, you do have Denise Schall, I think that's how you say her last name, and she is the new field deputy rep for
Sure, that'll be C.
Okay, great. Just letting you know.
Thanks.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Courtney.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, Studio City. I'm Courtney Schellmold. I'm here on this call with my coworker, Lauren Paddock. We're with the Los Angeles City Planning Department. We're working on the amendment to the Ventura specific plan. I want to thank you for allowing us to come today. It's my team's 3rd time to visit you. The first was to announce the amendment to the Ventura specific plan in late 2019, early 2020, right before our open house in February of 2020, before the pandemic hit. The second was to share a survey about transportation improvements that were being considered in January 2022. But we are here today to announce that City Council passed a motion on Friday, March 3rd to expedite sign clearances on Ventura. It's a very business-friendly amendment that will allow for signs to be administratively cleared rather than having a business file a case to put up a sign. The other big part of this motion addresses community representation for the Plan Review Board. because City Council has identified that representation on the board should be based by community and not council districts. The council motion also asks us to update the plan to reflect recently adopted ordinances, such as the new Processes and Procedures Ordinance. We're doing our best to move this forward as quickly as possible and hope to go to hearing in spring. We're working on updating our website to reflect this. We're still working with our web team, and we're trying to coordinate a plan review board meeting in April to discuss changes, but that date is yet to be finalized. We invite you and anyone in your community who's interested to please sign up for interested party list to participate in this update process, and we look forward to working with you more.
Great, thank you. Courtney, can you stick around a minute? Let's see if we have any public comment about the council file and the specific plan, and then onto the board, because they may have a question or two. Sure. SCNC elect, did you have something to say about what we just heard? You have 1 minute. Go ahead, please.
Yes, before we can have this lovely conversation, can you come over and please fix my pothole and broken hole at 5027 North Havenhurst? Okay, let me write that down. 5027 North Havenhurst. Yes, I just drove your car over it, sir, and it nearly broke the front of the car off. Yes, I'm like Brandon. I've been calling CD4's office every day. I've been calling Public Works every day, notifying them of the danger. And yet, they continue to place vehicles in peril. Good job, Brandon. I took your advice. I did it the way you did it. And now, I might be able to sue the city for a brand new car. Yay! Yes, congratulations. You have won a 2024 F-350 diesel Lariat, courtesy of the city of Los Angeles. Yes, is that what you want? Or do you want to fix the pothole? That's what we need, like, that's what we need. Where's Glenn Bailey?
Calling user 2, we're talking about the specific plan council file. Do you have something to say on that? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Just for clarification, did the NEA show up?
That would be no.
Okay, then there's nothing to say. I think Courtney is a very nice lady. I don't think she has enough support, staff, everything's done to just create work for her. And she should maybe contact the NEA on how to be a loser, because Courtney's not a loser, but the NEA, Lorenzo, he's a fat ass loser. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public have any comment on that? We'll go onto the board. Any board comments or questions regarding this issue with the specific plan? I see everyone's read the council file and completely understands it and has nothing to ask. So thank you, Courtney.
Thank you. I'll be following up with how to follow along with this amendment. I will send you.
Much appreciated.
If I may.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're on to 8C, other government representatives in attendance. Let's go down the list. Denise. Go ahead, Denise.
Good evening. I'm Denise Schall. I am the new field deputy for Studio City. And I just wanted to give a little update that the 4118 locations were approved. They were the North and South Weddington Park, Riverside Drive, 134 Freeway, and the North Hollywood Red and Orange Line stations. And that also, I just wanted to let you all know that we are doing a Care Plus cleanup at the larger encampments in Studio City this Friday. Hopefully it'll go through with no rain and cold weather protocols, but that's the 101, Moore Park in the 101, Tahunga and the 101, left side, and Vineland and the 101, 134 too. I mean, yeah, Vineland, yes. And unless anyone has any questions, that's really all I have for updates tonight.
Thanks, Denise. If you can just hang out. We're going to hear from Walker, and then we'll go to public comment and back to the board, because sometimes the issues overlap.
Hi, everyone. Nice to get to meet you all. My name is Walker. I've been with Councilmember Rahman's office for about 2 years, since April of 2021. Recently, I was just promoted to Deputy District Director. So Emma Taylor, who's our District Director, I don't know if any of you know her, thought I'd be a good person to come give you guys an update for tonight. So I guess my first thing is right off the bat, I know that you guys have been without a field deputy for a little length of time, a dedicated one. You know, Emma and I are working on that. We're reviewing resumes and hopefully interviewing people very soon. So just, you know, keep an eye out for updates on that front. Next, just to go back a little bit, I've been working with Abby on the April 8th movies in the park. Our office is sponsoring, helping to sponsor by just providing some funds to wrap directly for refreshment purchases. So thanks, Abby, for reaching out to us with the opportunity to get involved. Abby, do you know what movie they're going to be showing? No? Okay. We'll get back to that. Second, just a couple updates.
Sorry, Minions Rise of Gru.
Minions Rise of Gru. Okay, great. I've never seen it, so I'm excited to. Second, a couple different storm updates, because I know that's been something that you know, everyone has wanted a lot of information on for obvious reasons. You know, Councilmember has introduced a couple different motions, one in partnership with Councilmember Yaroslavsky of the 5th District, to just generally increase the communication of the city with both other departments of the city, to exchange information about the storm, but then also, I think really importantly, information with constituents. Because what we saw in this last storm is a lot of times people failing to get the information they needed from departments that were working to respond to the crisis. You know, they're working as hard as they can, but also we have people who need to know what's going on to live their lives. And that's really what we're trying to address with that issue too. Along the same kind of lines, our office is hosting a discussion session with LADWP, just to go over you know, what their response was to the most recent storm. You can ask them questions about what was going on. And then they're also going to talk about how they can improve future storm response. I know power outages, power outage response, and you know, when things are possibly going to be back online was a really big problem for DWP. There's a lot of very justifiable frustration. And so we're hopefully going to try and talk about that with them. That's going to be March 22nd. At 6 p.m. There is a Zoom registration link. I don't know if I can post anything here, but I did share the link with Scott earlier, if you want to distribute that. Moving on from there, we did receive your resolution requesting that we aid in trimming the palm fronds on Ventura. Just a quick update on that. We have a certain amount of on-demand tree trimming that we can request from the Urban Forestry Department. Every fiscal year. Right now, we only have a couple days left. They measure it in terms of days of crew work. We only have a couple days left. If we can address as much of those palm fronds as we can with those days we have, we're going to do that. If not, we can try and figure out some other options in the meantime, or we'll continue working with you on it and until the fiscal year rolls over, and we'll have a more resources to devote to that. Just a couple little bits to wrap up. We had a neighborhood support day, which is one of our biggest homelessness connect events that we've been trying to do more frequently recently. That was last Tuesday at the Unitarian Universalist Church in partnership with NoHo Home Alliance. That went really well. These are always great events if you ever want to come out and see. Just one of the things our office does, just to kind of is more focused on bringing people services. But then also just getting people to connect with our office and know who's out there and what we can do for them. And finally, our office, I don't know if you guys have seen the council files about it, but we've signed the lease on a new office space that's going to be a much larger space that's totally for our team in the Valley. That office is going to be on Ventura and Ethel. So we're thinking we're really close for all of our constituents in Sherman Oaks and Studio City. And we're hoping that, you know, the city process takes a long time. I know we've been looking at this exact office for about a year. But so we still need to get some furniture. We need to get some ITA equipment in there, but we're hoping to be open finally around, early to mid-April. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. If you can stick around a second, we're going to go to public comment question. SCNC elect. Can you unmute yourself? You have 1 minute.
Yes, human. 5027 North Havenhurst. The hole opened back up, damaging Goat Puppet's chariot, the truck, and the fence is down again, and you won't fix it. And then, of course, White Oak underneath the 101. You don't get rid of our homeless encampment. We need that done too. And of course, you're moving your office further and further away from Encino, further and further away, closer to Studio City. Why? Because Nithya is married to a studio executive. Exactly correct. Did Brandon know that? Did Brandon know that's why they want to be so close to Studio City? File a grievance, Brandon. She needs to be in the middle of the district, not over on one side, so her husband can pitch scripts while I break my tires on the road and homeless criminals terrorize motorists off the 101. Help us, human. Help us before it's too late. We're being surrounded.
Calling user 2, go ahead.
Oh, that's a great place near Ethel. So when I go down and walk past Casa Vega, I can pick up the prostitutes and bring them into your office. We can get them to work. And some of the homeless criminals there too. So how many prostitutes can come into your office at one time? And what are the rules? And also there's a Goat Puppet's bastard stepson named Billy. Can he come by and get services? He really needs it. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, prostitutes? No, then I support the office, thank you.
Any board members have any comments or questions? Jeff, go ahead, please.
Real quick, welcome aboard, Walker. I know you're new to this position, but there's an individual who's been sleeping out in the rough in front of the Studio City Library for the last 2 years. I know your office favors an aggressive outreach approach to the homeless situation. So if you could look into it and find out what steps your office has made to help this particular individual and give us an update at the next board meeting, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
And Julie?
Thank you. I have a question for both of you. Denise, you had mentioned some cleanup at some encampments, and I'm just curious what that entails. Are they, the folks there, offered outreach at that time? And if they, decline the services, or do they just kind of on their own to find a new spot, or are they able to come back to that same spot later that day? Or just curious how that works. And Walker, you had mentioned some about the rain and the floods, and Denise, you may know something about this as well. I live on a hillside, and we've had mudslides and a lot of damage. I know it's happened all over the city and all over the area. And I'm being told by engineers and hillside people that one of the problems that it's so severe now is because of the severe brush clearance we're required to do. We used to have a lot of vegetation on the hill, and now we're required to trim it down to nothing. And now the water just runs all over the hills and creates damage with the water. And so I'm wondering if there's any way to walk some of these brush clearance situations back, because now it's having a negative effect in another way.
I can go first and answer the cleanups. I don't really have any information about the the brush clearance, I wasn't aware that that is one of the problems with the mudslides, but we don't have any hillside anymore. So I haven't been working closely with that. But in terms of the cleanups, there's two types of cleanups that sanitation does. One is Care and the other is called Care Plus. Care Plus is the more extensive. That's what we're going to be doing this Friday. And with what's involved with Care Plus, that's really clearing the area so that sanitation can clean up completely. There's outreach, losses out there, days, weeks, I think within weeks before. And those locations, because there are chronic locations and they constantly get the Care Plus cleaning, there losses always going out and outreach. They are being offered housing. They don't have to take it, but they get a 72-hour notice that they have to clear that location for the cleanup. So what will happen is they will clear it, but they end up coming back, as you see. But we have extensive outreach to them prior to it. They know it's coming, and a lot of times they're just packing up that morning, and then they'll move over and usually come back, and then you see it grow.
Just so I can respond to both of those questions. So Jeff, yeah, I don't know off the top of my head if I have an answer for you, but I will actually talk to our homeless team about that individual and see what they know about their situation and what we have in place to try and a plan for that person to get them into a housing situation. So I'll just reach out to you via email tomorrow. And Julie, just about the brush clearance and hillside erosion, that's again not something I know have heard anything about, that issue of over aggressive brush clearance leading to more landslides. But it's something we can definitely look into and talk about. It does seem like, just off the top of my head, seems like kind of a catch-22, right? But we're happy to talk about it, talk to the fire department, see what their these kind of two opposing positions, the fire department and the BOE. But it does sound like something to look into. I know that we represent most of the hillsides now. This issue is not going to go away as we get longer periods of drought, more intense fire risk, and then huge deluges like we've seen. So it's something that we should maybe think about adapting as we go forward, years to come.
Yeah, I'd appreciate you looking into that. Thank you.
More information about the person living in front of the Studio City Library. Some of the local residents took matters into their own hands and have raised $9,700 to try to get him housed, whether it's temporary or permanent or whatever, because he was living out in the rain. I don't know how that effort is going. I still see his stuff there. I don't know if he's still there. I can maybe Walker, put you in touch with the people doing the fundraising, and maybe between both your efforts with their cash and your outreach, maybe they can find a place so he's not living in the library year after year or at the library.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I'd love to hear more about that and hear what the details of that fundraising is. That's really nice to hear.
Peter, did I miss your hand? Peter, you have 1 minute. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I wanted to, I'm commenting late. You didn't miss my hand. I just comment on the gentleman living in front of the library. I know he's been there for at least 6 years. And this is not the first fundraising effort. The first one, it was somebody from the neighborhood council got involved and raised money for him. And I think it was maybe $3,000. And I think he ended up taking a vacation or something with the money, visiting a family member, and decided he wanted to live outside. And now probably the newbies that don't know the backstory are trying again. And this time, I guess because of inflation, it's now close to $10,000 on the GoFundMe. But I just think that the council office should make these people poster children of the council office, and find the few people in Studio City who've been out on the streets the longest and really work hard to show that you actually can make a change, because I've seen no change, whether it's been Kokorian's office or Rahman's office. It seems like there is some glory to the government to leave these people on the street for some reason. This really shouldn't be that hard. So anyway, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Denise, and thank you, Walker. And we will be talking to you offline. Moving on to any other government reps in the attendee list. I don't see Lorenzo yet, so I guess he's missing our meeting. That's it for government reps. We're going to move on to item 9, which is public comment on non-agenda items within the neighborhood council's jurisdiction. Each speaker will have 1 minute and 30 seconds for a non-agenda item. Go ahead, call in user 2.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The person's name in front of the Studio City Library, I believe, is Billy. That's Goat Puppet's bastard stepson. So he just generally eats a bunch of hay and grass, and then he hoofs around all over the place. So I think we need to get a proper stable for him. I think that's very important. So that's Billy, a homeless criminal. As to Dunn, where is that fat ass, that loser? He is not very trustworthy, in my opinion. He's a nobody. I sent you, Mr. President, a copy and a couple other people of the link that's broken on Dunn's website. Today, the notification was broken, and luckily, I was able to talk to someone at the Department of Technology, and they took care of it. But all these shitheads that the Department of Technology has emailed them for their work orders or their problem statements or problem tickets, they don't fucking respond because they're fucking pieces of shit. What have they accomplished? They accomplished nothing. They're just a bunch of political science wannabes, and this is where they got stuck. What have they done? And on top of that, an ordinance that just passed is going to be able to change your bylaws and remove people at will.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you. Your time is up. Anyone else from the public on a non-agenda item, please raise your hand. Barry, are you trying to raise your hand? If you are, unmute yourself. Patrice, go ahead.
Hi again. I just want to say no one is giving credit to Scott. I mean, Scott spends, excuse me, almost every day he's out there, in our community, seeing what's wrong and trying to fix what's going on. I don't see, I was on the board for 3 years and the last term, and he is like the best president that I have seen since I've been involved with the neighborhood council, and is involved and spends all his time. And I think adding Chip to this combination for the neighborhood council is going to be amazing. So anyways, I just want to give kudos there. Thank you.
Thank you. Call in user 3. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is Barry, and I wasn't raising my hand, but I did want you to know where I'm at for later.
Okay. Thank you. Not seeing any more hands for public comment on non-agenda items. We're going to go to item 10, which is unfinished business from our last meeting. Jeff, take it away.
Thank you. Let me try to share my screen with the motion.
Make sure you're a co-host. Oh, you are.
All right, there it is. So I'll go ahead and read this as quickly as possible. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 22-1594, title Hazardous and Illegal RV Parking, Resident Complaints, Oversized Vehicles, Parking Enforcement. After a deluge of complaints from Los Angeles residents about the proliferation of immobile and unsafe recreational and oversized vehicles in the city, the Board of Transportation Commissioners recently investigated the chronic problem. The Transportation Commissioners found that there was an increase in crime on impacted streets, enhanced risk of fires, illegal drug use, dumping of trash, and blocking of cyclists. Offending recreational vehicles, RVs, and oversized vehicles were also not being cited by authorities. The commission drafted a report with recommendations for the city council to implement. These important recommendations include, number one, begin immediate parking enforcement of oversized vehicles in violation of LAMC sections 80.69.4 and 80.69. Number two, request that the mayor declare an emergency regarding the proliferation of these vehicles so that the impacted streets can be immediately cleared. Number three, immediately install parking restriction signage in impacted areas. And number four, adopt a citywide ordinance prohibiting oversized vehicles, sorry about the typo, in all residential zoned areas, like many municipalities have done across the United States. The board supports these common sense recommendations for immediate action that will bring order to chaotic areas that have become drug dens, hubs of criminal activity, and sources of environmental pollution and public health hazards. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement, CIS to Council File 22-1594. Okay. Let me see. How do I get back here?
Yes, you called.
Are you trying to unshare?
Yes.
I believe it's on the top. It should be on the top. Stop screen share.
Okay, there.
Hold on. For some reason, my screen is micro right now.
The host can stop share screen sharing as well. If you just go up to view up, you can any host or co-host can stop screen sharing as well.
Yeah, Brandon's 100% correct.
There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so I read the report. It's quite lengthy and it's very interesting. No neighborhood councils have opined or submitted CISs to this particular report in the council file. So we will be the first one. And this is kind of a companion to the next motion that deals with a Board of Police Commissioners report, kind of addressing the same thing, but we do have an RV problem in the city. I talked to Officer Curtis Delbar recently, and there's a whole bunch of RVs up by Forest Lawn in the Coinga Pass area that have been there for quite some time. And one of the issues that the police are facing is they lack lots to actually place these vehicles once they're able to be towed. So that's another issue that needs to be addressed by the city council. But anyway, baby steps, and I think this is a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll now go to public comment on the motion you just heard. Call in user 2, unmute yourself. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Let me tell you why this won't go through. First of all, there's only one towing company that tows these. You have to use a Huey type of tow truck. They surcharge the shit out of it, rightfully so. Also, there's a hazmat issue. There was an article in LA Times about this, about the fleas, the rats, all the disgusting stuff. Third of all, you get people like Ramen Noodle that will say, oh, we'll address it, but of course they don't give funding to deal with it. And then the fourth thing with the police commission is they get sued because they're disposing of people's personal property, like dead dogs. That's someone's personal property. So Billy, the homeless criminal, that Goats Puppets bastard son, should opine about that and so forth. So I understand where you're coming from. I appreciate it, but nothing's going to be done. This is how Ramen Noodle cock blocks everything. Thank you.
SCNC elect, please unmute yourself. You have 1 minute.
Yes, I'm sorry, Scott. I found Billy the homeless. He's busy rummaging through the blue cans tonight on trash day tomorrow.
Thank you. Amy, I got about $240, Scott, tonight worth of cans. That should last me on my drugs till about Monday afternoon. Thank you, everybody, and keep disposing of valuable bottles. Yeah, anything you can do to help me and my people, anything that can help me facilitate crime. I like to park my RV in the wealthy areas, and then I spend all day with my binoculars and my surveillance equipment finding rich people, particularly rich Jews that are out of the country. And then I pass the information along to the gangs, and I get 10% of the haul. Thank you, Ramen. Ramen is the best. I hope Nithya Ramen becomes president and Eric Garcetti becomes vice president, because I'll get everything for me. One day I'll be living in a beach house in Malibu. Remember, my leader says,
you'll own nothing and like it.
Yeah, that's Charles Schwab.
Thank you, Speaker.
No, it's Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab.
Thank you for that. Not seeing any more hands.
You're not allowed to hit me.
Does anyone from the board have a comment or question, or can we go right to a vote? I think we're ready to vote.
Okay, we're voting on item 10A. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler.
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent. Randall Freed,
Yes.
Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chief Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg. Richard. Yes or no? You're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Rain Sorrow,
Yes.
Adele Slutter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Avi Velasco, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you for that. On to 10B. Hopefully I won't mess up the screen share this time. Hold on. Here we go. All right, I'll go through this quickly. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 21-1465, title, Los Angeles Police Department Property Crimes RV Overpopulation. In February 2022, the City Council adopted the Public Safety Committee report of this council file seeking reports from the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, and Fire Department, LAFD, about crime and fires along recreational vehicle RV corridors in the city. The LAPD drafted a report in May 2022 addressing the RV crime situation, which was approved by the Los Angeles Police Commission in December 2022. There are 216 specific locations where oversized vehicles and RVs have a positive correlation with increases in crime. The 49 most problematic RV areas were spotlighted, including 7 RV encampments in the North Hollywood district. In the North Hollywood area encampments, there was between an 83% and 150% increase in crime, the worst being the Tahunga Avenue Heartland Street encampment. Noteworthy findings conclusions include, number 1, crime numbers are elevated within RV encampments. 2, there will be an increase in RV presence unless more restrictive parking regulations are enacted. Outreach efforts should occur prior to enforcement. 4, there should be a modus operandi MO reporting code associated specifically with RV crime to get more data. 5, there needs to be more RV salvage recycling facilities to dispose of scrap RVs. The board urges the city council to address these findings with new ordinances and funding to stop the proliferation of RV encampments and associated increases in crime. So this is a companion. The police commission got the LAPD to draft a report, and they confirmed basically what the transportation commissioners concluded, that there was a correlation between crime and the RVs, and that something needed to be done. So we would like our city council members to support these particular issues. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks. Hold on, we're going to public comment and then we'll come back. SCNC elect, you have 1 minute, please unmute yourself.
Yes, go ahead, William.
Yeah, thank you. Now that's fraud. That police commission's not true.
Explain.
It's not up 150%. It's up more like 288%, because what we do is we pull up all of our trailers, especially in residential neighborhoods, and we do surveillance. And I got myself at least 3 or 4 good car break-ins. Catalytic converters are easy because you just take the tools out of the back and then you just jack the car up, steal it, and put it back, right, Karen? Yeah, that's right. See, and I like the fact that you wealthy homeowners keep dumping money into these programs so I can continue my habit. So let me see here. Do you have a straw?
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, excuse me, I need a hit. Oh, okay, that ought to last me at least till the morning. Because
Thank you, Speaker.
I want to get I got a good one. There's a Maserati parked over. I want to go.
User 2, go ahead, please.
I would really like to hear about homeless Billy's fiance, prostitute Sally, next time. One issue is, and to the people, a person that's trying to put this on from the board, I respect you, but you want to put down new ordinances that don't get enforced because of people like a ramen noodle. He doesn't give a shit. So you're going to have new ordinances that don't get enforced. How are you going to enforce them? That's the problem. Nothing to tow, nothing to take, costs money to administer. Unfortunately, this report doesn't talk about the fiscal study on enforcement, in which that's not the police commission's job. But this is just more crap that these socialist losers that don't own anything, they create solutions looking for problems. And, you know, I wish the best, but you know what? Do you think if they're in the corporate world that they would still be employed? These bureaucrat union pieces of shit never do. They never understand. They only care about the few, the people that donate to them. Thanks anyway for bringing this up.
Not seeing any more hands from the public. Does anyone from the board have a comment or question, or are we ready to go right to a vote?
Question.
Go ahead, Richard.
My question is it better this way, or would it be better to have off-street, totally off-street parking and let the homeless now on the curb be in motorhomes? There's certainly more than enough motorhomes to go around. What would be a better long-term?
I think what would be better long-term would be to get people out of these really decrepit and dangerous RVs. I mean, we've seen them all over the city. It's really a sight to behold, and they're public safety and environmental hazards. We need to dispose of those and get people into outreach programs that can actually help them. The problem is a lot of these individuals, from what I understand, are service resistant. So you have that dynamic to deal with. But, you know, we have laws for a reason. There are lots of laws that are not being enforced for whatever reason that are on the books, and they really do need to be enforced. Now, there could be a safe parking program. I know that there are several pilot programs in the city that permit this, but that has a mixed bag of success as well. So I think the main problem would be to get to deal with these RVs that many of whom are in our areas close by, and certainly we can't have them in residential areas. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I have found that within 2 blocks of the Van Nuys Courthouse, there is a whole parking lot used at night for vehicles owned by the homeless. It would seem to me that kind of thing, if it's drivable to one of these locations, it would seem to me it'd be good to get people off the street and into at least housing of questionable quality. Seems to be better than no housing at all. It also doesn't cost anything to administer such a program because the city already owns the lots and they're already using them. Just a question.
Yeah, I do concur with that. There should be an expanded program to deal with kind of safe parking situations. And that's actually what the police report, LAPD report suggested. That's one of the elements. But it also said, and I'm quoting, as a means, hold on, unless more restrictive parking regulations are enacted, which limit and control RV parking, it is reasonable to expect a citywide expansion of RV presence. So what they're basically saying is, if you don't enforce the law, more people are going to come in and do the same thing. So we need to try to deal with the situation. So we need to encourage our council members to do what they can to support the LAPD in actually enforcing the laws in the books. Thanks.
Just a quick comment. I believe it was last year, not long after we were seated, there was also a motion that this board supported that the council passed. It was a fee-free project that the city was taking, further to what you mentioned, Richard, where they were encouraging, they were starting a program to encourage RVs to park in multiple designated areas where there would be tank pumping and security outreach efforts, and it was to encourage people living in those vehicles to get out of those vehicles. I don't think that program really got off the ground because of what Jeff just mentioned. With no enforcement, there's no motivation to move to a specific area. So they just have the RVs everywhere. And as you saw on the report, where the RVs are, there's a host of other issues as well. If we can go to a vote now.
Okay, we're voting on item 10B. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy, absent. Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chick Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg,
Yes.
Aaron Thorough,
Yes.
Adele Slaughter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Abby Velasco, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. We're at a point now where we're going to skip the order a little bit. We have to get to a few financials that are time sensitive. So if we can now go to 14A, I will read that. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, approves the expenditure and payment of up to $700 to LAUSD Walter Reed Middle School for use of the facilities for voting purposes on SCNC Election Day, June 2023. The school has provided a quote of $806.55, of which the city clerk will only cover $150. thereby leaving a balance due from the SCNC of $656.66. The location was the primary choice approved by the board at the November 2022 meeting. This is being brought by me, Scott Mandela. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. And I want to thank Kim for helping me with
1 sec. Who
motion.
seconded?
And the following one, B, is also tied to this one. So as it says, we approved Walter Reed. Walter Reed came back to the city clerk with a cost, with a price, and the city clerk only funds to a certain amount. So we need to vote thumbs up or thumbs down on the expenditure for Walter Reed. So we're going to go.
Point of information.
Yeah, sure.
Abby, Richard Niederberg seconded it.
Thank you, Brandon.
Calling user 2. Unmute yourself. You have 1 minute.
Thank you very much. I support this. I think homeless Billy, criminal Billy's fiance, prostitute Sally, should be used as a mascot there. She can maybe give some encouragement for people to come in. She'll do it for free, I think. And I think Billy should introduce prostitute Sally to help the Studio City Neighborhood Council to blow more, get more votes. Thank you.
Barry, go ahead, please.
Yes, I support this motion. For 21 years, every single Studio City Neighborhood Council election has been done at Walter Reed Middle School because of its larger than average parking lot and its relatively central location in Studio City. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. SCNC elect.
Oh, yes. Oh, go ahead, William. Yes, what a great thing, the hospitals, yes. And make sure that we have those off after hours. Boy, hospital supplies are really a good one to trade on. So if you can get me access to those areas, I'm going to bring 2 large bags. And what about a roll-up? I'll bring that too. Make sure that you can bring bags and roll-ups and not be searched. So after I vote and exercise my First Amendment privileges, did I say it right? Privileges? Perfect. Yeah, then I'll go and fill up. I need gauze, saline bottles, and of course Narcan. Brandon, see, where's the Narcan over there? Make sure you can post that on the website. So again, I'm not saying you need to bring me the Narcan. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, it'll be left of the entrance. Thank you. So I fully support this. And again, thank you. I am a drug addict, and I'm proud of it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Speaker.
Going back to the board, does anyone have any comments or questions? It was I hope it was pretty self-explanatory. Okay, let's vote on Walter Reed.
We're voting on item 14A. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy, absent. Rhonda Free,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chip Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Niederberg,
Yes.
and Sorrow,
Yes.
Adele Slutter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Avi Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Thank you. B, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves the expenditure and payment of up to $250 to the Studio City Library for use of the facilities for voting purposes on SCNC Election Day, June 2023. As a cost-saving measure, this alternative to LAUSD Walter Reed Middle School is being explored. Should the out-of-pocket costs to the SCNC be $250 or less, total of $400, including the clerk funds, then the Studio City Library will be the official polling location for the SCNC election 2023. This location was approved as alternate second choice at the November 2022 board meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. So basically, the short version is, and we still have not yet heard back from the city clerk about the library, but if the library is available and can accommodate us for election day, and since it's our second choice, and if it comes in considerably less than Walter Reed, the question is, will you like to have the library to be the polling place? So we will now go to public comment. Barry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I only support this as an alternate if Walter Reed burns down or is knocked down by an earthquake. The Studio City Library parking lot is way too small. Thank you.
SCNC elect, go ahead, please.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Oh, no, I don't want no library. Libraries, I'm allergic to libraries. There's nothing good there to steal. Everything has these RFID chips. I had to spend 90 days in jail out in Imperial County for stealing shit out of a library. Now I want the hospital or the studio. Let's go to the back lot at CBS, and they got a lot of parking, and they have a lot of catalytic converters too. So I could take a couple of those and then go in and vote. So let's go with it and do that, or a really nice house. You know, one of those party houses. You mean oh, yes. I think what Billy's saying is we should rent out an Airbnb as a voting place. Well done, Billy. Yeah, an Airbnb. Yeah, and then I could steal all the furniture and sell it to the Armenians on GoPro.com. You know, I take the surveillance videos. Yeah, this sounds good. I like the conversation we're having. I didn't know that it would be so profitable. Thanks, Scott. See, that I like this new vice president opening up opportunities for people like myself
Thank you, Speaker.
that
Thanks so
have a
much.
criminal record and they're homeless and drug addicts.
Polling user 2.
I think prostitute Sally thinks this is probably great. That's criminal Billy's fiance for voting purposes. So she could walk across the street from the liquor store and be your mascot right in front of the library, and she could educate regarding syphilis. I think that's a very good thing to do. So you're voting and getting educated, and might even get something else. So I think that's something the Studio City should give rather than receive, and maybe have a Holy Cross medical just in case if Sally gives something out to somebody. Thank you.
Not seeing any more hands. We will now go back to the board. Kim, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say there still is, I believe, there's still the vote by mail option, correct, Scott, or somebody else? Yes, that's what I thought. I just want to make certain. My point there is with that, especially, I think very few people are going to show. There aren't a lot of people that do vote in these elections anyways. And while some feel that it's tradition always been at Walter Reed, I sort of think that the neighborhood council has really limited themselves to the persons who are getting this advertisement. If it, like with the movies, when we put out banners, we keep having the things in the same places so that we're not seen all around Studio City. And I think it is nice to venture out and into other locations. Again, and as a cost saving measure, I'd rather see us not spend much money on this. I think this would be great. And I'll even reach out, Scott, if you'd like, to the woman again at the city clerk's office, that particular department, and see if we can get more information there. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes.
Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, although my personal preference is read, we have rented the library room all day and night for political, informational stuff and discussions. It was cost $166 per day per one to do that. I'm not saying that it's the answer, but it certainly will save money just to have our voting right there. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Anyone else from the board? So we're gonna vote on whether the library will be the polling place if they come in at $400, which would be a considerable cost savings. If you're hell-bent on Walter Reed regardless, then you would vote no on this. If you would like to save money and have the library as the alternate, should they meet the benchmark of price, then you would vote yes. So I think we're ready to vote.
Voting on item 14B, Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy, absent, Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent, Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chip Meehan,
Yes.
Rhonda Marino,
Yes.
Richard Niederberg,
Yes.
Ren Sorrow,
Yes.
Adele Slutter. Adele,
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Adam Summer is absent, Alexis Steinberg,
Yes.
Javi Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Great. Thank you again, Kim, for helping with that motion. My original thought on that was incoherent.
No, not at all. And thank you for bringing it. Good stuff here. Thanks, Scott.
Moving on to item C, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, approves the expenditure and payment of up to $1,750 to Pink's Printers for printing services, flyers, and cards to promote the SCNC election. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Thank you. So we heard from Terry earlier. You know what we have in mind. We're going to go to public comment on this and then back to the board. Call in user 2, unmute yourself. You have 1 minute.
Yeah, prostitute Sally was just texting me. She thinks this is a trademark infringement because she works out of the Pink Pony Motel, and this is regarding the Pink Printers. I think that is kind of maybe possibly a trademark infringement. You know what? I think Pink is a very sexual and racist type of thing that is being promoted. But you know, I wish Sally with Billy would comment more about the Pink Pony Motel and see if they have printing services. Because I think Billy steals printers, so you might be able to get a better deal. Thank you.
SCNC elect. Go ahead, please.
Yes, and of course, this was Brandon's vision. Yes, Brandon started the whole thing, and he needs to be given credit. He was going to design the flyer, and he was going to select a printer. But Scott had a breakdown. Yes, and then we elected the great one, Peter Cole. And he was going to do it, but Scott wouldn't let him. So now who's going to do it? Brandon? No. Scott? No. How about Chip? Chip doesn't even know what we're talking about. He wasn't there. How about Richard? That's the problem here, people. You dropped the ball for Goat Puppet. But I have a design, and I can submit it for you. It has a picture of the Confederate flag in the middle of it, and it says, if you want to stop this, vote in this election. It will get a huge response. Yes, Goat Puppet, promoting elections in the right way.
Thank you, Speaker.
moving on to board comments and questions, and Terry is free to help answer. And just to let you know, these flyers will be printed more than once, because once we have our list of certified candidates and we're telling people to get their ballots, the flyer will change. So there will be more than one round of printing. So we have a little bit of a pad in there. So I don't know if we'll be spending all of it, but we will certainly do our best to keep the flyers accurate and updated for each of the events we're at. Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, just a real quick FYI, the Pinks Printers website is down. If anybody's looking to check the prices on this, he's working on a brand new website. However, his prices have always been very competitive and sometimes a little lower than the competition. So this is a good price. That's all I have to say.
Thanks for that. Terry, before we go to a vote.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I just sent the prices to Kim and Scott, because I couldn't type all 15 names that fast, but I'll send it to the rest of you about what the prices are. And I also wanted to mention 4 other flyers that for other committees, like homeless committee or for the cultural committee for the movies, during the time that I'm.
You froze.
Oh. Tell me when again. Still frozen? Am I?
You're not.
You're intermittent, Terry.
See, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so what I was about to say is that if anybody has any flyers, like for the movies or for the homelessness flyer that is being printed, anything you want to give me to outreach at the farmers market, I'm happy to have any and all committees collateral on the table and speak to it the way you want me to.
Great, thank you. I think that'll make our table even more effective if we're more than one item, if we're doing more than one item at the table. So we should take advantage as Terry suggested. So let's vote on this.
Let's stop.
Okay, we're voting on item 14B, C, 14C. Tim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent, Brenda Free,
Yes.
Tara Gold is absent, Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chip Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Niederberg,
Yes.
Brent Sarah. Brent,
Yes.
thank you. Adele Slatter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Javi Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Great, now we're on to D, Julie.
Thank you. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves the expenditure and payment of up to $400 to Pink's Printers for printing services, flyers, or cards to promote the homelessness outreach information sheets created by the SCNC Homelessness Committee. So yeah, we've got an outreach card that we would like to print, and this is just asking for a budget of up to that much. I don't know if it'll cost that much, but to get those printed.
Do we have a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Richard. We'll go to public comment, call in user 2. Go ahead.
I think Billy, the homeless criminal, needs to comment on this. My only major question is how many and how is it going to be distributed? What's the outreach? So that's what I care. Is Pink Printers part of the Pink Taco Printer company? Okay, I'm just wondering. Thank you very much. So I think Prostitute Sally needs to opine about this with Billy. Thank you.
The CNC elect, Go ahead, please.
Well, if we're doing two of them at the same fucking time, don't we get a bulk discount? Yes. That's why Brandon raised his hoof, I think. Yes, we could get more of a saving. But if Scott hadn't had his mental breakdown, the flyers would already be available. You didn't think Peter Cole was going to do it, Scott. Not without the Brandon apology. Remember the condition. So we don't have a chair of outreach. How dare you people do this? And the website's down. He's changing his prices. That's what I feel. And of course, Pink's. It should be associated with Pink's hot dogs. Yes, let's cater the event for Pink's hot dogs. And finally, for Billy, he wants waterproof printing. Now, why do you want that?
Well, so after I read it, I can use it for a reach around. I like to use paperwork for reach around, especially criminal charges. I use it for a reach around.
Yes, Billy likes to recycle responsibly. Biodegradable, remember, Brandon, biodegradable for any of these papers that come to these homeless. Because they don't throw it in
Thank
the
you, Speaker.
trash. They use it over and over.
Thank you, Speaker.
Not seeing any more hands from the public. Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, in the November meeting, item 12, Outreach Committee, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount of up to $400 for printing, for flyer printing and/or stand displays to advertise SCNC at public events. This is different than that, correct? Because that would be for replenishing, which is also the homeless flyer that you're talking about is separate than the one we already have, correct? This would be this would be independent of the one we've been passing out this entire time, just because that's the $400 is already approved. That's basically for replenishing all of the little handouts we've been passing out at movies in the park, farmers market, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera. Will this be a separate expense?
Julie?
I had thought it would fall under the homelessness committee if we want it to be under outreach budget and it's already taken care of. That's okay with me.
Kim?
Sorry, I lost the unmute there for a second. I wanted to know more about specifically what this is or what it looks like. Is this to be handed out to homeless persons? How do you envision doing that? Is there someone who wants to do such? Even though this is a small amount, I see it as separate from what Brandon's talking about. And I think the cleanest thing would be to vote on it separately, rather than Brandon thinking it was under the printing that was approved before. So I'd like to see it voted on separately, but I would like to know what exactly this is and how it's, because I think if it is for the homeless, I think that there are enough city services that are reaching out that I just don't see. Yeah, if you could tell us more, Julie, that'd be great.
Sure. The card is double-sided. One side is focused on what Luis Oliart used to call the Fab Four. And it's sort of the main places that are near us where you can get services and things like navigation for housing, like the Unitarian Church, the Hope the Mission, the NoHo Hollywood Alliance. The backside is for stakeholders who want to report homeless encampments. I think most people who are dealing with an encampment, businesses or at home, they don't know how to report. They don't know how to file an LA HOP or if it's Caltrans to do the CSR. So it's kind of double-sided. It has two to possible audiences. I think it could be handed out at the farmer's market. It could be at the library. I could give them to the folks at the bid to hand out to their businesses. I know I was at Paper Source recently, and they were having issues with people living there on their side, and they had no idea how to report. And so I sort of helped and educated them on how to report. We get various emails in. We're also going to put information on our website, but this would be a physical thing. We could all each have, you know, a stash of some. I know Scott's always out and about, and he expressed that he'd love to have a card to hand people. So I think there are various ways that we could hand these out and get these out to people.
Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, when Luis Oliart was involved in the homelessness committee, I would go out with him sometimes, and he always had a whole stack of flyers. So when we would do outreach to various homeless individuals, he would give, you know, a flyer, but it was like an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I think the cards are better suited to someone like holding on to, and there's a little bit more permanence of that with that card. Maybe they could stick it in their back pocket. A little bit more difficult for someone with a large sheet of paper. So it actually helps. I don't know if it helps outreach or not, but it's worth a try when you're trying to reach someone. So I think it's a good thing to do. Thanks.
Terry, I'll call on you in 1 second. I just want to say, when we're going to be at the farmer's market and at other events, and we mention homelessness, we are going to attract people to the neighborhood council. I think it's a great outreach opportunity where we're not just talking about an election or something that only someone who follows us would be aware of, and it would be difficult to make them aware. But once you start mentioning homelessness, you will get an audience and people will come and engage with us. And I think it's well worth it. And Julie's put some work into that, into the information. And I think we're close to something that's printable. I hope we are. If not, I'll get on that. Terry, you're muted.
I was just going to say, somebody mentioned the Pink's website being down. Yeah, he is redoing it, but I physically walked into his place of business. So the prices that I just sent everybody, those are the hard prices. They're not changing when the website goes up. That's what he quoted me this week. So those are going to stay the same. And to Scott's point, I had called the Department of Sanitation to try to see if I could get some of those recycle buckets and stuff, because we did speak at the last outreach meeting about having some sort of, not necessarily swag and sort of something to give away, but something to attract people at each Sunday that might be different from Sunday to Sunday, things that the city offers. Right now they have those little buckets, and I should have asked Robin's office when they were on. But yeah, so if anybody has any ideas about that, that's another idea we were thinking about drawing people to the booth to get them interested. That's it.
I just want to add one more thing. Thank you, Terry. She sent these prices around. For 500 double-sided postcards, she got a quote of $138. So I think that's actually, I wouldn't want to get more than 500 right away, just in case, you know, sometimes things change and you always want to make sure your information's up to date. So I think an investment of that $138 in the cards as a try is a great investment. The card will also have a QR code that will take them to our website if they want expanded information.
I think we're ready for a vote.
Question.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Richard.
I'm wondering what the size is going to be. Is it going to be 4.25 by 5.5? Or what is the actual finished size going to be to hand to a homeless person and not have it end up as trash on the paper on the street?
The price that is quoted on the email I just sent you around is for 5 by 7 cards. Excuse me, that's the size. But they're not cheaper if they're smaller. They're more expensive if they're bigger. So this is a 5 by 7 size.
The one that I printed out, I used a template in Word, but I really want somebody to set it for me. It's smaller than that. It's about, I think it's a 3x5.
It won't
Or like an
necessarily,
index cut.
probably won't be cheaper, but it won't be more expensive. And yeah, they make a 3x5 as well. They make this, they make everything from business cards on up. And business cards, like Staples will print a two-sided 4-color business card for $38 for 250, but
I can share this if y'all want to see it. It's a draft.
Kim?
Just quickly, I think it's a great idea, and I think it's terrific to get information out to people about who they can call. I have a little concern about this side, that on one side we're catering to the homeless, and on the other side we're saying how to report that there were issues there with homeless. So I think that's a little bit of a double-edged sword. But great. And yes, if you want to share with us at some point, it'd be terrific. Doesn't have to be now, but thank you for your work on that. Maybe, just food for thought. You might think about one that has two sides, but on other services that may be of value to people, two different ones, one for actually handing out to homeless persons and another for the citizens on how to, things that may impact our environment all the time in the area.
Okay.
Just some thought. Thanks so much for that.
I think we're ready for a vote.
And we're voting on item 14D. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy, absent. Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Kate Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg,
Yes.
Ren Sero,
Yes.
Adele Slaughter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexis Steinberg,
Yes.
Abby Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we've covered the time sensitive and financial. So now we're going to go back to the order on the agenda and go to item 11, discussion recap Luminaria 2022. This was requested by a few board members to be on the agenda. So Barry and Ren, take it away. Barry, you are now unmuted.
Hi. So we did recap the event in the cultural committee, and I have a summary of it. I'm looking because I'm not sure which one. Yeah, if I could share my screen, I could show you what we went through so we don't repeat ourselves.
You should be able to share now.
Okay. Okay. Can you see the affairs committee?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
so basically the event is for the illumination of lights and music and historical coloring pages for the kids, and also for the NC to meet the community and to highlight the importance of the Cahuenga building and the story behind it. So when we went through the committee, they said that the refreshments, I wasn't there, by the way, I was ill. They said that the refreshments were well managed by Barry and Richard. Two-thirds of the board members turned out for the community. So we were missing a lot of people to help. Council members stayed to speak with the stakeholders, which was really good. And I was told that all the speakers did talk about the importance of the site. So that's really good. And then they talked about improvements for next year, which would be pretty easy and less expensive. So they'll use LED string lights instead of tea lights. They're less expensive and there's no sand needed to hold them in place. So apparently a lot of the bags flew over, so that would help with that. They want to start earlier so that it's warmer, and then end the event when the lights come on, basically when it gets dark, with hopefully like the bell ringers at the last part. They want to add that people need to dress warmly to the flyer because it was cold and rainy. And we were going to add, I forgot to put it on here, but they want to add a rain day for the next Saturday. So that would be like we could do that. And then every board member, we need to encourage it so that every board member is volunteering. And we probably need to make room. There's a last minute scramble to get the chairs. So we could just build that ahead and, put that in the budget to get the chairs available. So I followed up with Scott and Barry about the meaning, and he kept pointing me to the flyer. So this was beautiful flyers that Brandon put together for the event. This one talks about it summarizes what the event actually is, and then and of course all the information about going to it and the times and everything. And then it does very heavily lean on Christmas. So I understand that why people were arguing about the religious significance, which I didn't before. But I really took a good look at this. All we have to do is change this sentence so that it's more inclusive and, not lean on just one holiday. I don't think that's appropriate for, a city that represents so many different backgrounds, religions, and even non-religious. So I think that's just a more sensitive thing we can do next year. And then this was basically what's on their website for the history of Cahuenga. And I think this could be basically simplified so that we're just talking about the story, like the fun story that it's a peace site, and let's kind of talk about that. So so I know that there are people on the board that think it's very expensive, and I can stop sharing now. Stop share. And it is, but I think the intention behind it really is that we are throwing a holiday event, that is for the community. So I don't know what would be a replacement for that. And Barry, would you like to talk about that?
I was just going to say, considering we hadn't done it in 2 years, and we also dealt with threatening weather that day, I think it came off rather well. More participation from some board members would have been helpful. But there were problems behind the scenes, but there weren't any problems that day per se. And I've even heard from committee members and board members since then about comments they heard from people attending, and it was all positive. So, and I think some of, like starting a little earlier and ending earlier, telling people the obvious in the middle of December to dress warmly because people are idiots. They need to be told that, apparently. But yeah, I think all in all, it was well. It went off well that day after us not doing it for 2 years, and many of the people working on it had not participated in one before. So.
Thank you, Barry. I think we'll go to public comment, and then we'll come back to a roundtable with the board. SCNC elect.
Yes.
Talk about Luminaria.
Just remember, Terry has her hoof raised. Yes. Yes, Luminaria. What does Goat Puppet think about Luminaria? I like it. Shut up, Billy. Yes, of course the homeless like it. But do normal people go to a Luminaria? No, of course they don't. What would you rather like to do? Go to Luminaria or a Dodger game? Or go to a Luminaria or a Clipper game? Luminaria or a Kings game? You decide. Of course, the problem is that nobody here on this panel can afford to go to a Dodger game, a Clippers game, or a Lakers game. Have you seen the fucking prices? $27 to park at that filthy fuck Dodger Stadium surrounded by homeless criminals? No offense, Billy. So,
Thank you, Speaker.
yes, we need to have better events. Then maybe I'll go.
Call in user 2.
If Barry says it was good, I trust Barry. He's a no-nonsense person. And he reminds me as a retard on to dress warm, so I appreciate that. I like using cats, so they all hang up on me. So it's a more climate change type of thing. And I appreciate Barry educating me on that. So I appreciate Barry and everybody else that helped on it. And I appreciate you reporting back. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Terry, you have 1 minute on this because now you are a attendee.
Go. Okay. I just wanted to say that this is the first
Congratulations.
that I helped with the setup and things, and it was a lovely event, and it was a very interesting mix of people. There were people of all different backgrounds and income levels. I mean, it was really lovely, and the music was beautiful, and there was nonstop cookies and hot chocolate, and it was a lovely event. And that area is the oldest historic spot in Studio City. So I think at least once a year we should remind people about it. And when you walk into that actual building, it's something to see, and it's unique for Studio City. So I'll be there next year. Thank you. Helping.
Thank you for that. Anybody from the board want to chime in about Luminaria past,
Yes.
present, and future? I see Adele was first with her hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went and helped, and it was cold. It was really cold, but it was really enjoyable. I mean, I loved the singing. I loved the only thing that I think would be great is to try to get more people to come, because it was sparsely attended, but part of that was the weather, because it really was pretty cold. But all in all, I mean, it was just sort of old fashioned in a really cool way. And it was fun at the end. I do think getting rid of those horrible sandbags you got to do that, because it's just, we were there forever cleaning up that stuff. And it was a waste of time. Even setting it up was long. So, and it could be, the setup could be a lot easier, but there was something really good, magical about it, actually. And I super enjoyed it. So that's my feedback.
Kim?
Yeah, thank you, Karen, for the outline there of what was discussed. Yeah, I have a few things. One, I was going to suggest tea lights, first of all. This was such a tremendous amount of work for the people who were or had the boots on the ground. A tremendous amount of work, which mostly fell on a handful of board members, and that isn't right. And we can't force people to come. And then, yes, some people, like apparently Karen was sick. I don't know where a number of others were, including some of the people on this Cultural Affairs Committee that pushed so hard for this. Abby was amongst the missing until the event. We do have an issue with board members not showing for the hard work, but coming to the events. And yeah, I would encourage people absolutely to dig a little deeper and pitch in on things. But yes, tremendous amount of work. The setting up of those candles was something else, and doing it while it's drizzling and in the rain was even more fun. But I want to point out that we had volunteers from, I think, and correct me, was it I think it was Harvard Westlake. We had a bunch.
It was.
Thank you so much. A bunch of wonderful young kids who pitched in and made short work of some of what was there. In any case, overall, I think it became, the end result was enjoyable, and I think that there was a decent turnout. I would suggest that one of the first cultural affairs or outreach, I guess cultural affairs handles this, one of the first meetings in the new fiscal year or with the new incoming board or whatever, or start now, start getting the information out to people. First of all, start advertising, start planning. Absolutely, the chair rental should be in the budget of the event. Should have been in the first place, because that is something that gets approved and by the city clerk's office, and needs to be in there in order to pay for such a thing. I understand also, I'm a little confused on this with the meaning of the Campo de Cahuenga. There's so much in that flyer, and we were hosting the event, which is also to bring light, the Campo de Cahuenga, and yet we were supposed to pay originally a $1,500 fee for use of the facility, which really seems to me kind of a strange thing. In fact, Chief Joseph, who is part of the Campo, he was only helped for a little while there that day. He did show, but, and mind you, it's over 2 days that work was being done. It was a crazy amount of work, and I want to thank the people that were there. But that eludes me why there'd be a charge, why they would want to charge for the facility when we're bringing, we're putting such a spotlight on the Campo. It seems to me it's a win-win, and that should be a wash. But Council District 2's office, Paul Krikorian, I understand, worked out a deal there, and that we did not pay. So that we were not charged for. The luminaria came out to be approximately $2,600. However, I would even suggest, spending a little more. Barry worked his tail off with the drinks all night and stuff. I think there are ways that we could lighten some of the load on board members, because although we're supposed to help out with these things and do this stuff, shouldn't be entirely on us to host all these so many community events. It's taxing for the handful of people who are there at nearly every event and whatnot. It's too much. It'd be great to get more involvement. So from the community. So I love the push for, trying to garner more hands to help with all this. I think that's about it. I'm sure I've said enough, but thank you everybody for the work on that. At least it was enjoyable at the end.
Well,
Thank you, Kim. Yeah.
Chip?
Yeah, I love Barry's People Are Idiots, Happy Holidays. And, it's sort of interesting knowing that Barry had that sentiment, because I've never seen a cookie elf work harder than Barry did from dawn to dusk that entire day. I mean, I was stunned as to how much work was required to get this whole thing off. I didn't understand where I needed to help and that so much help was needed. So I definitely think we need to communicate that better. I hardly shirk from things like this. There's no reason to beat the tea lights to death. But I thought it worked out far better than I thought. We just need to get more bodies in there to get the per capita cost down. But thanks for everyone that worked so hard doing that. It also shows what snowflakes we are, because we're all complaining about how cold it was. Look what happened for the 6 weeks after the drizzle that we complained about on Lunaria Day. I mean, it wasn't the atmospheric river, but I mean, I was complaining about it as well the day of. I certainly think we should give it one more shot. And I think we should actually address some of the outreach issues to see if we can actually get, if that was wall-to-wall people, that would be good. It has to be more inclusive, and we are going to need to figure out what we say, not just in terms of luminaria, but also in terms of the conflict that was signed there. So we should know the implications of that.
Yes, hello?
Richard, you'll go after Jeff.
Okay.
Yes, I was there too. I thank all the volunteers. Barry did yeoman's work as usual. I think the Campbell Hall kids came under the auspices of Fiona Duffy to help out. They did a wonderful job assembling the lights and whatnot. So the volunteers did great work. But it was a mixed bag, to be honest. I mean, the lights were a big fail. You know, we spent countless man hours filling them with sand, putting the T lights in, the battery powered lights in. And, you know, probably like 80% failed. And then the bags got blown over by the wind. Now I understand there was inclement weather. It was rainy, but the turnout wasn't that great. I mean, people came for the entertainment basically. And once the wonderful jazz band stopped playing, a lot of people just left. So turnout wasn't great. I understand there was a weather component to that lack of turnout. But the light thing was a big debacle. And so we certainly need to work on that. And then trying to get people to go there. I think people were kind of confused about what this whole thing was about. And it was a little bit contradictory. You had Christmas carolers, and then you had a jazz band, and then you had coloring. It all seemed rather disjointed and you know, hard to really pin, you know, what the heck was going on to a lot of people, I think, in the backs of their minds. So anyway, it's a mixed bag. I don't know that it should even be something that we pursue next year unless we really nail down the light situation and do proper marketing, and then try to clarify what the whole event's about so people have a clear understanding of you know, Campo de Cuenca and you know, what luminary actually means, because I think some people just showed up seeing something going on over there and weren't quite sure what the heck was going on. So anyway, I thought it was a mixed bag, and you know, I'm not sure that I would vote for it next time around. Thanks.
Randy, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Scott. Unfortunately, I missed this year. I was out of town. However, I did attend the last one, which was before the pandemic. And it's worth noting that one too, it was a pretty minimal turnout. I think we had counted maybe 100 people over the course of 4 hours. I think it was less than that. But when it came time to review and debrief, there was a lot of the same things. Well, it was cold. Well, maybe there was a threat of rain. The lights and the bags were loads and loads of hours of work, and then folding the edges. And again, same type of thing. Lights failing, bags blowing over. So then it was like a game of whack-a-mole. You put the bag up and then a few fall. So I just think that, just to echo, I guess, what Jeff said, that I think it's not something that, it was a great event. It used to be highly attended, but I think it's an event that served its time. But really, we should either A, look to partner with or reinvigorate the holiday festival that happens on Tahunga, if that's going to happen, for example, this year, for those who continue on for the board again. Or we don't do it, or we do something else. I think just because it's an old site and something that's always been done doesn't mean it's something we should be spending our money continuing to do. Thanks.
Richard, go ahead, please.
Yeah. I happen to like it, but then again, I'm biased. As far as lights are concerned, we already own all of the lights to put them in bags. We have enough lights and cords and connectors and 3/1 to do 4,000 bags. I'm not saying we have to do that, but we've done it before. We have enough string lights to do 4,000 bags. I happen to work the event. I think that opening with the big band was nice. It did not have to be connected to holidays at all. None of it have to be connected with holidays about. This is where the whole thing from sea to shining sea in this country came from. This is what the sign there was a deal so that U.S. went from border from ocean to ocean. That is one of the things to celebrate. As far as having other religious things, I don't think that's even necessary. We don't have a facade there. We certainly do not have anything that looked religious. We had some of the some Christmas carols, but that was not really a major part. I think we should do it again. I think we have the equipment to do it again, including all the cables stored in the office. We have it all. So we could do it again without great expense. Again, basically, it was fun. It was allocated $5,000. They paid we spent about 2,600 of it. So as always, we've come in way under budget. This is not something new. This is something we do every year. And normally we pay to use the Campo. Last time it was $1,473 and pennies. And it worked. So, I think we should do it again. I think it's a good event to do. And nobody else do anything that weekend. Thank you.
We're going to let Barry jump in and then we'll go to Abby.
I was just going to say that in 2019, we had rain up until 2 o'clock when we started at 3. And we still had around 200 people in the course of 4 hours, not the 100 that was mentioned earlier. But we probably maybe in 2015 or 16, had between 450 and 500 over the course of 4 hours with good weather. But for those that think you're going to get thousands there, 500 over 4 hours is about all that site can handle, believe me. So, we do what we do, and people come for many different reasons, and it's not a jumbulation of many different things that nobody knows what's going on. It's organized events, it's coloring for kids, it's all the many things we've done for many years, and many people participate in many different things, including like the selfie photos and other things like that. So, weather plays a big role, which is one of the reasons we said in committee after the last one was to perhaps have a rain date, a week away. So there's a lot of things we could do. And then the other thing is some people only have the experience from 19 and 22. And those are the 2 years we used the tea lights because somebody had the idea 4 years ago that we should try them, but they weren't a good idea. And really the LED lights work much better. And the only other thing I want to add is somebody else said something about the chairs there's never been any kind of chair mystery. And we have never paid for the chairs. The chairs were always made possible by the Campo de Cahuenga Historical Association. And then one year they decided they didn't want to let us use them. And at the time, Krikorian's office came and said, we'll pay for the chairs, and have done so many years, and have also, including this last year, absorbed the cost of renting the space, essentially, which now Krikorian basically and Rec and Parks have taken over that site again, which for the first 7 or 8 of the luminarias, we were dealing solely with the Campo de Cahuenga Historical Association, which we no longer deal with. We deal directly with the city, and that's why Krikorian's office smoothed over so many things that we ended up not having to pay. So I just wanted to set the record on all the different things people were saying about those damn chairs. Thank you.
Abby, go ahead.
Hi, I'd like to respond to Kim's comment. I do agree with you, Kim. There was a lot of work, paperwork behind the scenes. And when we agreed to do this, I actually took over many tasks that I had not volunteered for. I did not complain. I did what I could, and I jumped in as I could. Barry and I, in terms of paperwork and pulling it together, we worked really hard on this. And then, of course, the rest of the committee members, they did a fantastic job. Now, yes, I was not there for the setup. I work on the weekends. Many of you, or at least many of the committee cultural affairs, know that I work on the weekends. The line of work, what I do, it is not the typical 8 to 5 job. I don't have a Monday through Friday. I work on the weekends. I travel. And around that time, I got really sick. I even sent an email to Brandon, Scott, and Barry, letting them know that I was very sick. And I still took all my medication that I needed to get well, because I really wanted to make it to the event. And I did it. I was not there for the setup, but I was there for cleanup. I got there an hour before and I left until the event ended. And I even volunteered to drive the picture booth lady volunteer who did not have an automobile to get home. So in order for her not to get there, I volunteered to do that. Throughout the event, I was not sitting on the chairs enjoying the event. I was working. I was either at the coloring table, cleaning up. Terry and I, we were at the cookie table, rotating. I was checking if we were the cookie ladies, called each other cookie ladies. And I was in the kitchen, well, not inside the kitchen. Barry was in the kitchen most of the time, asking Barry if he needed something. So that's all I have to say.
No comment about the event, Abby, maybe? Anything for cultural affairs? You want to talk about the event?
The event, I think it was a wonderful event. And during the Cultural Affairs Committee, I already shared my thoughts. But overall, I think everyone did an amazing job. Everyone has their own talent and we all help as much as we can. Unfortunately, some of us were sick and could not attend. Others were sick, got better, and I really also got really good feedback from neighbors, from people that I know in the community, and they really enjoy the event. And I really applaud Barry and Richard, who have been doing this for 10 years. And I really applaud them because it was a lovely event. That's all.
Barry?
I'm done. I think we need to move on. It's getting late, and this is something for discussion come July. We need to put it to bed now, once and for all.
Okay, Barry. Okay, I think we're done.
Settle down.
With the public.
Thank you.
Oh, Oh, you're welcome. You.
Moving along to item 12, Government Affairs. Barry Johnson, go.
Okay, motion A, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council opposes Council File 23-002-S27, a resolution to oppose the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act on the November 2024 ballot. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement to CF 23-002-S27. And what this really is about is the council created a file in opposition to this ballot measure, and we are disagreeing with that because our council, our tax and spend council, doesn't want any checks and balances on what our state legislators can tax us on. So that's really the bottom line on this motion. Scott?
Thank you, Barry. We're going to go to public comment on this item. Call in user 2. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Barry described it very clearly, concise, and direct. Thank you for doing that. I think Goat Puppet's son, Homeless Billy, needs to know about his revenue stream. Thank you.
SCNC elect, go ahead, please.
Yes, yes. Well, hear the counter opinion. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I like to spend other people's money. I don't have a job. I'm broke. I'm living in a trailer. I have no heating. So I need more fucking money. And the only way I can get more money is to have people like Nifty trick you into passing yourself more taxes. Then I can get more and I can offer more help for all of my fellow homeless coming from Texas and Missouri. Oh boy, look at your excited faces. Chip doesn't even want to look at all the homeless coming today. No, you bring them, I'll bring you more. And I never get tired. But that fucking bitch that used to be the Prime Minister of England, that Thatcher, she said that people spend other people's money until it runs out. I don't like Republicans. I don't like Tories. I like Nifty. She's a good
Thank you, Speaker.
Yeah, I'm a communist.
Yes, you're also an asshole.
We'll go on to the board for comments, questions. Not seeing any. Let's vote.
Okay, Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
1 second. Oops. Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent. And I think I did say Fiona, absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Meehan,
Yes.
Brenda Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg. Richard,
He's muted, but saying yes.
I need to hear him.
If you can unmute, Richard.
Shake your head, yes.
Trying to unmute. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Sarah?
No, I oppose the act.
Okay. Adele Slutter?
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion B, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council supports Council File 23-0167 for a report back on best practices to sidewalk repairs used by other cities that would preserve the city's mature street trees while ensuring safe sidewalks. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement to CF 23-0167. And what this is about is essentially cities like Burbank, for example, instead of removing a tree, will meander a sidewalk around it instead of cutting it down. In fact, they even will get a long-term dedication onto a property owner's property for that sidewalk meandering to go around the tree. And in other cases, they'll bump out a curb into the street to save the tree. So all this motion does is, for once and for all, makes LA start thinking about doing the same thing that other cities have been doing for decades. We're behind the times in LA. Thanks. Scott?
Thanks, Barry. SCNC elect, go ahead, please.
Yes, cities like Burbank do protect their trees, don't they? As you know, there was a Superior Court case, and Brandon has read it. Yes, Goat Puppet's favorite Superior Court judge ruled the city cannot kill 15,000 trees in its new curb and gutter plan. He said the EIR was defective. 15,000 fucking trees saved by one human judge. He also handled the Eric Previn election challenge, the same judge. Goat Puppet met the judge. So yes, we have our people. And they can build it around, meandering around. Of course, Scott knows that violates the ADA, and he knows there'll be strip and fall accidents. But what would you rather have, Scott? Tree canopy or 140-degree temperatures when you walk your doggy and he burns his feet? Of course. Do you hear that pain? Yes, Julie just heard that pain. Yes. Protect the dogs. Save our trees. Save our
Thank you, Speaker.
Call in user 2. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. A little FYI how this works. It's not a dedication because that means the property taxes could be reassessed. But they do it as an easement. And the reason why they do it as an easement, then they could get the property owner on maintenance and also liability. I've seen what they've done in the past with the City of Los Angeles. Basically, the property owner has to waive all rights and be responsible for everything. I understand the underlying merit, which is not a problem, but the City of Los Angeles will fuck any property owner. Like they try to fuck me. And I told them to go fuck themselves, and they say I'm a rude, bigoted Trump supporter since I'm an Aryan white piece of shit and also fat. So I said, thank you very much. Get the fuck off and get a warrant. Thank you.
Going on to board comments and questions. Karen, go ahead.
I'm kind of for the trees, just saying.
Not seeing any more board member hands. Let's vote.
We're voting on item 12B. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent, Randall Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold is absent, Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Pete Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Niederberg,
Yes.
Ren Sarah.
No.
Adele Slaughter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Abby Velasco, yes, motion passes.
Motion C, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council opposes both Draft Ordinance A and Draft Ordinance B in Council File 20-0990 because the content is vague, ambiguous, and overly broad. They both require more specificity. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement to CF 0990. And you all needed to go to the council file to read draft A and draft B and what this is all about if you're going to vote on this. I can't explain it in 30 seconds. Scott?
Thanks, Barry. Public comment on the item that you just heard. Call-in user 2, go ahead, please.
Believe it or not, several other NCs that I attended asked me to draft something regarding this issue, and I'm pulling up what I drafted. The merit of said ordinance is opposed as written. In addition, but not limited to, lacks to be narrowly tailored, forces vagueness, and is silent towards a public administrative hearing of a board member. And the issue is regarding the issue is not the training, but they have very vague wording that says they could remove and implode and displode any of the rules and regulations at will. No, and there's no voting, just whatever they want to do. Very sickening. Thank you.
SCNC elect.
Yes. And as you can see, the horrible trepidation here. Poorly worded, ambiguous, overdrawn. Yes, that's right. But at least you have one board member, one human board member out of everybody that voted no on these two motions, standing up for the Nithya Ramans of the world, and we thank her. Billy wants to thank her. Yes. Of course, Billy right now is currently, let's see, where is he at? He should be on a second catalytic converter right now. So if you're over in the area of Ventura Boulevard between Whitsett and Cahuenga, please watch your cars. You might find somebody underneath there with a jack. Holy shit, I gotta move my car. Yes, that's right. You move your car, stupid, and I'll stay here with Scott, and I'll babysit the committee. Thank you.
Ren?
I don't understand why we would vote against diversity training for the NC. That doesn't make sense. We've all been through it. So why would we vote against it? I'm just, guys, be aware of what you're voting no and yes to. He's saying that we're voting against this because it's vague, but you're actually voting against diversity training for the NC. Just so you know, that's what your no means, okay?
No,
Just
you're
so you
voting
know.
against draft ordinance A and draft ordinance B. It specifically says that in the motion.
Brandon?
Yeah, just to clarify, Ren, it's not the diversity training we're voting against. It's the power bestowed upon Dunn to do things that they are not supposed to do under Article 9 of the LA City Charter. It's not the diversity training, it's how it's going to be administered and possible disciplinary actions towards individuals from Dunn. So there's that and in fact, Colin User 2 actually helped us with the language. I'd like to thank him for that. I mean, he was at the meeting and he gave great insight. That's what we're voting against. The fact that the language just gives Dunn too much of a broad oversight over it, and it's something that they are not supposed to do. That they're supposed to guide us and assist us. They're not supposed to discipline us and administer this kind of authority over us, and that's why it's so vague. It doesn't really specify the things that we were looking for. I mean, what they cannot do, what they can and cannot do.
I get it.
It's not
I
the
get it.
diversity training.
Okay.
It's the
It's the authority.
overreach of Dunn administering it.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Thanks.
Yes, you've been mansplained.
Yeah, Dunn keeps trying to regulate us and trying to oppress us, so to speak. I mean, they got this code of conduct training, which code of conduct requirement, which I believe is unconstitutional. They're trying to force this new sort of training on neighborhood councils. And I do agree with Barry and his committee that it is likely unconstitutionally vague and ambiguous in terms of how the ordinances were drafted by the city attorney. I would also like to say that it's rather choice that the city council is trying to force us on a neighborhood council system when you have Nuri Martinez et al. Acting up and doing what they were doing. So I think the city council needs to look at itself in terms of policing its own behavior rather than that of neighborhood council members. Thank you.
Any other board members? I'll just chime in. I agree completely with Barry, Brandon, Colin User 2, and Jeff. If you go and read these things, and see what's been going on with Dunn recently, we'll just leave it at that. This is terrible what they want to do to the neighborhood council system and what they've been pecking away at it for years. Brendan, you have one more comment?
Yeah, really quick. Apparently it was voted on yesterday and passed. Nithya Raman, Hugo Soto Martinez, and Kevin De Leon were absent, but everyone else voted yes. But things can still change. You know, if enough people voice their concern over this, maybe they'll take another look at it.
Thank you. I think we're good to vote now.
I'm here. I was just drinking water. Let's see, voting on item 12C. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent. Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold is absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Billy Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Pete Meehan,
Yes.
Rhonda Marino,
Yes.
Richard Niederberg,
Yes.
Rain Sarah,
Yes.
Adele Slutter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Ivy Velasco, yes. Motion passes.
Okay, transportation, motion A, and let me just say that at the last minute, because of the weather on March 1st, one of our committee members had workmen in his home trying to patch a leaky roof, and he was not able to participate in our meeting, and we did not have a quorum. However, Randy has agreed to bring the three motions that we did have for that evening, and I'll start with motion A. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, requests Council President Krikorian and the Bureau of Street Services, Street Renewal Division, to repave Vineland Avenue from Whipple Street to the 101 freeway southbound off-ramp, which was not repaved when either side of this section was repaved. Brought by Randall Freed, and we do need a second. Scott?
Second.
Richard Niederberg. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Richard. We'll go to public comment. This seems pretty self-explanatory. Call in user 2. Go ahead.
Just going to give a little FYI for some of the board members. Do not take the head notes or the title as true. You have to read the actual proposed ordinance. That's why in law, head notes are not citable. I understand what someone says and what it is are two different things. What the outcome is even the third. So I understand what the young lady was saying before. Why would someone be opposed? You got to see the meat of the ordinance. And head notes are probably the worst thing to go by. Thank you.
SCNC elect.
Yes, finally, for the first time in his life, Randall Fried Chicken, doing business as Randall Fraud, has finally done something right in his miserable little life. Let's give him a hand. Hey, I never thought I'd see it. And he protected your First Amendment rights earlier at tonight's meeting. Yes, that's two things. What is going on with Randall? Brandon, what's happening to him? He's becoming a sentient being. I can't believe this. Is this a trick? I can't see him on camera. This can't be the same Brandon. It's a fake Brandon. It's an AI image of Brandon, probably produced by somebody like Scott. But we will support it. Yes, but I want to see Brandon to make sure it's what's his name there? Randall Fraud. I want to see Randy. Yes, make sure it's the real guy because my God, it's him. He's
Thank you,
actually
Speaker.
doing good for the community. Finally.
Thank you.
Look at that expensive painting behind him. Yeah. Tell Billy about it.
Not seeing any more hands. Board, do you have comments or can we go right to a vote on this one? We can go to a vote.
Okay, we're voting on item 13A. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent. Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold is absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Chip Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
No.
Richard Nitterberg,
Yes.
Ren Sarah,
Yes.
Adele Slutter. Adele? We'll come back to her. Adam Summer is absent. Alexis Steinberg,
Yes.
Avi Velasco, yes. Going back one more time, Adele Slutter.
Abstain.
Okay. Motion passes.
Thanks, Abby. And by the way, I failed to mention that the motion that you just voted on came to us from our budget chair, Barry Weiss. So moving on to motion B, the board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council supports Council File 22-1125 to address the increase of charter aircraft operations at the Van Nuys Airport if the following issues are addressed in the attached letter. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement to CF 22-1125, brought by Randall Freed, and we do need a second.
Holy Christ.
And I should mention that Sherman Oaks, North Hills, Van Nuys, and a couple other neighborhood councils have done a similar motion, and they asked us to also do the same one. So that's kind of where our attached letter came from. Scott?
Thank you for that, Barry. SCNC elect, go ahead, please.
Yes, but as you know, and we'll need Brandon to step in, he called two speakers at the same time. Yes, I think this is a good idea. Can we both speak at the same time? Yeah, let's try it. Yes, that's right. Oh, Scott's getting tired. Here, a nice bottle of scotch will fix that. Yes. So as we know, again, this is the third time that Randall Fraud has done us something beneficial for all of us in Studio City. In one night, the third time, you're witnessing a miracle. Is it a sign of the apocalypse? Is the Messiah coming to us? What is wrong here? What is happening? Please explain this. It just can't be the same guy, can it? Gold Puppet is completely mystified by this. So you have to support it. Yes, I hate to say it, Scott, but I support Randy. Ew. Oh, God. Ew. But I have no choice. I have to stick to the issues.
Thank you, Speaker.
Calling user 2.
Just for clarification, Mr. President, did you write this letter?
I did not personally draft it.
Good. There are numerous grammar issues. Let's go for like number one, the capital limit on the number. to restrict, not capital limit, restrict operators on volume of traffic to be operated. And also at the end, any given for a given day, week, or month, it should be scheduled. There's prepositional issues right here. A misspelling. Wow. Glad that you didn't do it. I didn't think you would do it, but whoever wrote this, I've already seen corrections that need to be done severely. It's so wordy and tiring, but I understand why it's going to get passed. And thank you very much, Fried Chicken. Bye.
We can now go to board comments and questions. Anybody have anything to add or question? Not seeing anything. I guess we can go to a vote now.
Voting on item 13B, Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent, Randall Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold, absent, Jeff Hartwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mandel,
Yes.
Pete Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Niederberg,
Yes.
Ren Sarah,
Abstain.
okay, Adele Slutter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent, Alexa Steinberg,
Yes.
Javi Velasco, yes, motion passes.
In our last motion, C, let me just preface by saying that you all know a couple weeks ago, we ended the local emergency order for COVID, and this motion is against extending one of the provisions, which is already in a 12-month extension starting this month for another 2 years beyond 1 year extension, and we're saying 1 year is enough. So the motion is the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, opposes Council File 20-0380-S2, a resolution to extend the provisions of Section 16.02.1 of the Municipal Code, relief from specified land use provisions, to provide temporary regulatory relief from certain time limitations and automobile parking provisions during and for an additional 24-month period for a total of 36 months after the termination or expiration of the local emergency order as provided in Section 16.02.1. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement to Council File 20-03-80-S2 brought by Randall Freed, and we do need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Richard.
Scott?
Thank you. We'll now go to public comment on this item, SCNC elect.
Yes, and Scott forgot to point out that Chip made his first official vice presidential move. He chimed in and interrupted, like our prior vice president used to when he was younger. Yes, that's right. Good job, yes. Again, I can't believe this. What is wrong with Randy? Somebody give him a mental exam. What is wrong? He's for the people now? He's trying to solve problems in the city? Yes, but look, everybody. Look at that big watch. Yes, that's right. Now we know what happens when you wear a power watch. Yes, he's been over to the Middle East, fraternizing with people in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, places that Goat Puppet long ago used to go to. Yes, Randy, they have so much money, they make the Chinese look like homeless. Just have to go over there and play their game. They could buy the city of Los Angeles and pave every street in 2 weeks. So
Thank you,
again, we
Speaker.
support this. Yes, thank you.
Call in user 2.
In legislative drafting, one thing I don't like having is open-ended provisions. One is the extended provision will provide the planning department the ability to engage in outreach and analysis to determine by what date, lacks that. What permanent changes in the municipal code should be made to support economic viability? What the hell does that mean? Of LA commercial districts. Is that a way they're going? I read this as a way for a tax audit, where they want to come in there and say, "Oh, we're here just to do this," and then they rat you out to the tax people. Yeah, and also further aspects of regulatory relief are exempt from environmental review. I don't like that. Don't like it at all. Thank you, Randy Fried Chicken. Appreciate it.
Not seeing any more hands. We'll go now to the board. Does anyone have a comment or question, or can we go to vote? Not seeing any hands. Let's vote.
Okay, voting on item 13C, Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler. Dean. He gone? Okay, we'll come back. Fiona Duffy is absent. Rhonda Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold is absent. Jeff Harwick,
Yes.
Julie Houlihan,
Yes.
Scott Mendel,
Yes.
Chick Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Yes.
Richard Nitterberg,
Yes.
Rincero,
Abstain.
Adele Slutter,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent. Alexis Steinberg,
Yes.
Avi Velasco, yes. Let's go back to Dean Cutler. Are you here? Yes?
Yeah.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Adele, you have your hand up?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to continue this meeting at another date. I am completely not able to focus
I
anymore.
second it.
Thank you. You can, I mean, I just think that over 3-hour meeting is unconscionable. And I think that people are even sort of fading. And I think that it's not fair to the people with emotions. And I'd like to continue it to possibly next Wednesday and have a short, well, we've got the homeless motions that you have, Ren. Are they yours? I'm sorry, who?
No, they're not mine.
I'm sorry.
They're me. I'm fine with pushing them.
Okay.
Just for clarity, are you saying postpone till a special meeting next Wednesday, or postpone and then offline I will try to figure out if we're gonna do a special meeting, or push it to April in person? Because
I'd like to postpone to next Wednesday if that's possible, but you know, I mean, whatever you guys think.
A question, Adele, did you guys have any motions passed at sustainability?
Yeah, we did. We didn't get our act together, so I would put those on that.
Yeah, okay.
Special meeting.
That actually shortened April's meeting. If we have a meeting next week that includes sustainability as well.
I'm not sure if I can make next Wednesday. I'd like if we could keep it simple and just like close the meeting now and then figure out the date.
fair enough. We'll go to public comment. SCNC elect, go ahead.
Yeah, but the problem is, many of us here on the meeting already took our meds. And we did that so that we could stay up till midnight, Scott. Now, what are we going to do now? You know how much these barbiturates cost? Yes, I would have done a line, but I know that that's going to be a little too hard to drive. So we need to continue this meeting because I think Chip wants to continue. Yes, who else Brandon looks happy. He'd like to go forward, I think. Kim looks happy. What about Abby? Abby doesn't want to spend 2 days on one meeting when we can only spend about maybe 30 minutes to go. How about Randy? Randy looks wide awake. Look at that. What are you taking, Randy? I want to get that. I want to get the name of your doctor. Yes, I want that prescription. So yes, we will continue. Look at Scott. There you go. He's got a beverage. Yes. So let's
Thank
play
you,
the drinking game. We will now play the drinking game. The
Calling user 2.
Randy is the word.
As you know, Goat Puppet's my stepfather. And Father, where do you get these lines? I need some. It could really help me. And these barbiturates, are these new pets with hooves? Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think we're ready to vote on adjourning, and we'll pick up the unfinished business at a date to be determined.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, please.
Sure.
Was there a second?
Yeah, there was.
Second.
Ren.
Yes, Ren seconded, I believe.
Traitor.
Father, stop saying that.
Okay, so let's vote. Kim Clements,
Yes.
Dean Cutler,
Yes.
Fiona Duffy is absent, Randall Freed,
Yes.
Ira Gold is absent, Jeff Harwick.
No, let's press on and at least knock out a couple of homelessness ones because we're gonna keep getting stacked up. My motions from last month were stacked up into this meeting and it's gonna keep going like a domino effect. So we should knock out at least a couple of them, so no.
Julie Houlihan.
Yes, I'm torn. I mean, I'll power it out if we need to, but I just feel like maybe the group's not for it. I'm not sure. I'll abstain. I don't know what to do.
Okay. Scott Mendel,
If we have a quorum, I'll go all night, so I'll vote no.
Chip Meehan,
Yes.
Brandon Marino,
Let's go for the record. No.
Richard Niederberg,
Yes.
Ren Saro,
Yes, and can we put Jeff's motions on first next time? Please.
Well, they're Julie's.
Adele Slater,
Yes.
Adam Summer is absent, Alexis Steinberg.
With everyone's comments, I've now gotten confused as to which is a yes vote and which is a no vote. Can you remind me?
A yes is to adjourn. A no is to continue forward.
Thank you. Yes.
Abby Velasco, no. Let's see. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yeses. So, and 1 second, 1, 2, 3, 4 no's, 1 abstain. So motion passes.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you to the 4 attendees who are still left, and thank you all for contributing. I think it was a very productive meeting, and I think we got more accomplished than I thought we would. And I'm adjourning this meeting at 10:55 p.m. Good night, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night.
everybody.
Dad.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.